Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Thursday, October 24th, 2019. It's 8:26 a.m. and it's time to start Good Morning Pop Culture. So, as always, when we hit a certain number on the High Council, you guys get the Good Morning Pop Culture, and that's what we're doing today. This week's High Council was one of the most viewed. We had over 3,000 people watching. On average, we had 2,400 most of the show. So it was a hell of a show. People really want to talk about the Star Wars Episode IX trailer. This is Good Morning Pop Culture, so you guys can ask me any kind of questions. It's that kind of show. But the goal is to hit 1,000 thumbs up. And I thought, well, we have so many people watching. Let's go for 1,200. And we blew past it with 1,500 thumbs up. So if you guys like that, well, this was a group effort. But it happened. And here we are. So this is the Good Morning Pop Culture that was promised for the High Council this past Tuesday. And what a great High Council it was. We had a hell of a turnout. We also had a hell of a turnout for our Star Wars Episode IX live trailer review. 5,000 people watching, 5,100. I think we broke the record, which was originally held when Mauler, Retro Blasting, and Razorfist appeared on the channel last summer. So a shout out to everyone who made that goal possible as well, and thank you. So let's start talking about the title. I don't know, Testify HD, maybe. So there's a lot of talk within the fandom menace about boycotting Episode IX. And as you know here, we're not. That's never been the case. We always tell you to speak your mind, vote with your wallet, do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, just be excellent to each other. I think that's the most stern directive I've ever given anybody. It's just go out into the world and be cool with each other. And, you know, you guys do that. So thank you. You reflect well on us. But there's been a lot of talk about boycotting Episode IX, and I've heard some good ideas for if you have to boycott it, what you can do. There's some rumblings over on social media about, if you want to boycott the film, donate to charity or do something else with your money. And that's kind of a cool idea. If you have a hole in your pocket and you got to get rid of the $20, do something different with it. But it's up to you. Again, it's up to you. Me personally, we will have a big review. We'll have all kinds of content, probably a 10-hour stream, 2-hour post-show, or 2-hour pre-show, 8-hour-long show. We're going to be going into the wee hours of the night. So if you want to be involved with that, and you're waiting for our opinion first, well, then watch that. But yeah, you can support all kinds of indie alternatives. I try to buy independent stuff as opposed to if Nick gets us a copy of something Deadpool 2, that's fine. But if there's some indie horror movie, I'm more inclined to buy it. So again, it's your money. You guys do what you want with it. But personally, I guess I could say I'm emotionally boycotting it because I just don't like the idea that it exists, and I wish it didn't. But fiscally, that's up to you. Now, I know a lot of you are going to boycott it. So if you're in the chat and you're going to do it, let me know. No, Honey Thunder, I'm not in the bathroom. I'm in my office. The microphone can't be as bad. It's got to just be the connection problems. So, sorry, folks. It's nothing to do with the microphone. Because we are, let's see. I'll check just to be safe.
Just tell me what it's like after you've seen it. Yeah, I definitely will tell you guys what it's like after I've seen it. We're going to do a full spoilers review. We'll also give you a review within the context of the film. It's like, was it good if you like Disney Star Wars? Well, maybe. Well, no, we got to see it. We got a lot of people boycotting it. Talentum Gaming, DJ Deadbeat, all kinds of stuff. The merchandise will rot on the shelves. I haven't bought a certain thing or a single thing from that, and I never will. Let's see. Claustoric, what was your super chat you just sent a second ago? Good morning, first off. He asked if my review will be spoiler-free. In the beginning, all you got to do is watch the beginning of it, and then it'll get much more in-depth. The Grand Inquisitor says, boycott? I won't even pirate this trash heap. There we go. I publicly can never say go pirate a movie because I think it's actually illegal to say that, or at least, can cause a lot of problems. But You know the thing's going to make money in the beginning and it'll slowly die out. But we've been getting pictures from all over the world, actually, not just the country, the world, of screenings that aren't exactly empty opening night. And that'll be featured in our next video. Kai Wang, thank you very much for your super chat. Appreciate it. There's no message, but thank you. Now, speaking of watching it for free on Netflix, you'll eventually be able to watch it for free on Disney Plus, because if you're a Verizon subscriber, you're going to get free Disney Plus no matter what. So how many Verizon users are there in the world? A lot. They're going to use that. Be like, so many people are watching Disney Plus. And that's, I don't know, it's a little disingenuous for me. I don't like when they try to inflate those numbers. Like with Captain Marvel, they bought tickets to give them away at, was it American Eagle Outfitters and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of fuckery, as we like to say, going on here in the way the tickets work. And real quick, we have 509 watching. Can we hit that thumbs up, folks? Let me know that you like Good Morning Pop Culture. The more thumbs up, the more likely there are going to be more of these episodes. Norwegian Kryptonian, that's a cool name, says, I am not boycotting 9, but like Terminator Dark Fate or The New Lion King, I just don't care. We're going to be talking about Terminator Dark Fate in a little bit on this morning's show, so stay tuned. I don't think I've ever been more apathetic for a film than I am Terminator. The whole franchise, most of my life has been either amazing pre-Terminator 3, and everyone was excited for the hype of that film. I remember getting the comic book, and I was like, this is going to be great. And then I guess I just didn't translate well to my brain because I went and saw the movie, and I absolutely hated it. I think I saw that in a double feature with Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Yep. And the highlight of my day was coming home and seeing the new MTV Spider-Man show. So that's how I remember that day very well. Yeah, New Lion King, I completely skipped that one because I didn't feel like it needed to exist. I'm one of those people that's like, if it's a really great thing, no matter the medium, it doesn't need to be remade. You know, I'm not going to want somebody to rewrite old Ray Bradbury stories. I really don't want people to remake Halloween, which is what they did in 2007. And there are very few times where a remake is better than the original. The Thing, I don't really consider Scarface. Well, Scarface, yeah. But if it's like a book, maybe The Thing wouldn't be because it's a readaptation. I'm very okay with like It, the movie, and It, the TV show. It just depends on if you're adapting another piece of source material. So if they were to adapt The Wizard of Oz, I think they did. The Sam Raimi one's a little different. It's an adaptation from the book or something like that. I have less of a problem with that than I do, say, remaking the 1939 Judy Garland film, which I feel like that's a movie that everyone could agree is fine. You either like it or you love it. I don't know anybody that hates The Wizard of Oz. If you hate The Wizard of Oz, let me know in the chat. You'll be the first person I've ever talked to. But that'd be interesting. I absolutely like that movie. That's one of the few musicals I like. My favorite's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, here we go. This is a name I haven't heard from in a while. The High Reclusarch Grimalda says, hey, man, I may not be around much, but I haven't paid to see Star Wars movies since The Force Awakens, and I'm not doing it now. Let it burn. Yeah, sounds like what Seth Rollins would do. But welcome back. Yeah, with episode 7, it's like, well, I got to kind of see it before I can pass the judgment. I wasn't too excited, saw it, didn't like it. Then we had the channel for episode 8. And that movie is when we had our first big bump. You hear like Gary going from his few subscribers to where he is now in a year. Ours was a slower ascent, not descent, ascent, thankfully. And but we went from like 4,000 to 10,000 within like a week back then because of this film. And the Star Wars really has never failed to entertain anybody out there. You've never watched a franchise fall apart quicker than you have with this. Let's see. No to Terminator. I agree. All kinds of stuff. Yes, listen to the Grand Inquisitor, folks. Give that thumbs up. Oh, don't worry. I was never going to watch The New Lion King. I don't have children. I don't have any desire to watch The New Lion King. So I said in the chat earlier, now don't worry. We're not done talking about anything you guys want. This is Good Morning Pop Culture. This is your show. But the Oscar-nominated a-hole has a really important question. Jeff, when are you going to do another P.O. Box video? Well, how about right now? So we're going to do some of this live. And no, Rose Tico, we can look at Rose Tico's loveliness no more. So yes, I'm going to do some P.O. Box stuff live on the air. I thought you guys would enjoy this. I have a giant bag full of it, as you can hear in the background. Yes, this is an industrial garbage bag full of P.O. Box stuff. And I thought we could do this intercut with talking about Star Wars, intercut with all kinds of stuff. So you can see me in the reflection of my TV. Hello. And let's have some fun. So let me pull out here we go. We got a knife right here. And let's see what we got in the P.O. box right away. You guys ready? Big bag of drugs. Nope. Tiny box. This one comes from Salvador. It's 1/3 of something. So Salvador, I hope you're watching. Your giant package that you sent is not going to be featured in this video. And folks, over the weekend, probably Sunday, I'm going to have a P.O. box video that's got a ton of shit in it. So let's see what we got. It's I'm going to guess it's a cup, a mug of sorts. It's a mug and it looks cool. So let's see. Let's see what we got. Ugh. You can look at my Mint Cafe cup while I do that. That's more attractive than Rose Tico, right? Ugh. Yeah, I just need to cut this tape. There we go. And we got a mug. This is the best mug I own. It's a Jelly of the Month Club mug. It's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark. Oh, Salvador, I hope you're watching. I hope you catch this. I'll shoot you a message later, man, and tell you that I opened it up. As you know, folks, next year I will be moving across the country. So the P.O. box will be moving with me. And not everything from the P.O. box, this initial one, will be able to go. But I will take some things. And this is something that's going to go with me. The Jelly of the Month Club mug. And we'll open one more package, and then we'll get back to talking about the boycott of Star Wars and all that other stuff. So, let's see. We got this. Oh, shit. No. Didn't chip it. Thank God. Let me just put that up. Yeah, it won't fit. Okay, let's go on over here so nothing happens to it. That is too good. There's this, and that's our P.O. box number. There's no return address that I can dox. So let's see. We are currently P.O. Box 5069, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45205. So we got a bunch of cards. So yes, these are all cards. I guess these are handmade cards. They're really nice looking. They got all kinds of nice artwork on them. There's nothing written in the cards, but let's read the letter that came with this. Very nice. And it says, Dear Jeff, Dion, Nick, and Kendo, writing you a couple of days after the Captain Marvel drunken commentary. I entered the stream late and sent my super chat before I knew it would obligate you to drink more. It didn't look like a lot of fun by the time you got around to reading it. However, I don't regret supporting your channel, so I don't apologize. Hopefully Jeff's abduction leads to good collaborations with influences in California. That it is. And the WCBS brand grows even bigger. That it will. Enclosed is an assortment of greeting cards earmarked for Mom Hicks, with the exception of the Angel Christmas card. They're created by independent artists. If she wants to contact any of the artists that didn't put their email on the back of the card, let me know during a live stream, and I'll get you the info. Liquor Jim. You're passionately working towards your goals, is what the card says. So, Liquor Jim, thank you very much for everything. Much appreciated. And I will give these to my mom, and we'll talk on a live stream. So, thank you very much, Liquor Jim. All right. So, there we go, folks. Let me put these back, and we can get back to what the people are saying. So, I'm seeing people talking about remaking the Disney Star Wars trilogy. How the hell could you remake the Disney Star Wars trilogy? And I'm not saying that because I find your message to be not appreciated. It's how the hell could you do that? The big selling point was we got the original cast back. Well, Carrie Fisher's dead. May she rest in peace. Mark Hamill is probably soured on it, and Harrison Ford won't come back. At what point could they ever remake it? To retell the story? I feel like the only thing they could do in terms of retelling or redoing Star Wars would just to be to pick up in a relative time frame and not touch on Rey, Finn, Poe, and Admiral Holdo and all those people. But they'll never do that. I don't think they can. They can't get away with it. I don't think you could do a shot-for-shot remake of the original Star Wars movie, and someone would say, well, that's what The Force Awakens is. This is as close as you could get. You'll have a lot of defenders come out of the woodwork to say it's completely different. You'll have a lot of people like me that go, it's really the same movie, just in a different shell. And then you'll have people that are like, if you were to do a shot-for-shot remake, people would be like, this is just like the old one. And the old one hasn't aged badly at all. There are certain things Lucas altered that I think help the special editions. There are certain things that Lucas didn't do or did overdo with the special editions, which hurt it. So either way, Star Wars never felt like a dated film. I've never once watched Star Wars and thought, this is some boring 1970s film. This is, there are certain, like the Twilight Zone's very dated, but very poignant. Star Wars doesn't feel that dated and still poignant. Luke Deary says, I'm not going to see episode 9. Luke, you're not alone, my friend. Lots of people aren't going to. Oh, God. Holdo my beer. Just do the Thrawn trilogy. Again, if you were to do the Thrawn trilogy, Luke, Leia, and Han, you can't do it. Okay, folks, here's a question. Would you accept the Thrawn trilogy if it was made with other actors playing Han, Luke, and Leia? Is that an easier sell for you? Because you would have Alden Ehrenreich, Han Solo, essentially, Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker, and then Millie Bobby Brown as Princess Leia. I don't know. I just see the people Photoshop the thing with her face in it. I don't think she looks like her at all. But yeah, some people are cool with it. No, we're not calling for a boycott, Alex. We said that at the very beginning of this show. We're not. We've always stood by the statement, but people have been talking about it more often. And I've seen a couple online things where it's like, if you're going to boycott episode 9 and you want to do good, give your ticket money to whatever, you do what you want to do. I'm just bringing that to people's attention, that that's an online movement. If you want to, great. I don't have a horse in the race. There's nothing that benefits me from you giving to charity or doing what you want. Yeah, if you live in a city where you could buy a Jumanji ticket and see Star Wars, fine. Again, it's all about your choice. You do you. Martin Camp Sabby, thank you very much. I love your channel. Thumbs up. I watched the original movies and noticed Luke is using a Sith Force power in Return of the Jedi. Have you ever noticed that too? Yeah, when he chokes the Gamorrean guards when he walks into Jabba the Hutt's palace, definitely. Maybe that was to make things seem ambiguous, like, is Luke a bad guy? What happened? I really do like his black suit. I think that's when Luke looks very damn cool. But I get what they were trying to do. Now, if Luke rolled up with a red lightsaber out of R2-D2, then I could think, oh man, that could be bad. And yes, I know the story. It was originally blue, as is seen in the trailer, but they changed it because of the background. It didn't stand out enough from the background. So I do know that story, and I do like Luke's green lightsaber a lot. I love the handle. It's just like Obi-Wan Kenobi's, but silver. So that's neither here nor there. But Martin, thank you very much. And yes, I did notice that. I also noticed more, well, I've always known that, but like more recently, like when Luke gets electrocuted after he beats Darth Vader, like the little white flap comes down, and it's kind of like, hey, I'm wearing black, but he's still white on the inside, meaning like he's good. So I do like the symbolism behind that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll talk about the copyrighted Disney leaks as well. I see people in the chat asking about that. But again, Martin, thank you. Let's see. Mark Schaefer says, Thrawn after Rebels, what was happening in the unknown regions? Do you think, though, is the Star Wars brand strong enough to adapt a side character that'll get people excited? Because, you'll have your Screen Rants and all your other douchey websites that'll tell you how great this character is. And in this case, I'm cool with Thrawn. Never had his action figure as a child, but I always knew who he was. But is he great on his own, or does he require... Is he great because he's a foil to our heroes? If that makes sense. I don't know. We'll never find out, sadly, unless Thrawn magically appears in this film. What would you guys do if Thrawn showed up in episode 9? Would it make you... Okay, hypothetical. Let's say you are. I'm not going to see this film. I refuse to support it 100%. And then you hear Thrawn's in it. Would that get you to want to go see the movie? Just a question. You can tell me yes or no. Shout out to Ricardo Martinez. Thank you very much for the good morning message. Good morning to you too. See, unless Luke is alive, I'm not going. Luke will probably pop up at the end. They'll all probably pop up at the end, no matter what. Let's see. Still no. A maybe. Mostly no's. Cool. Yeah, Stoic Line, we're on just for you today. Have I discussed the leaks? We have a little bit on the High Council this past week. We'll probably cover them again tonight on the podcast. But we're not going to show them because Disney's going after people. So I'm not going to show the images. But you can easily go to Reddit and find them. That's not a crime to tell you to go to Reddit. Reddit's on the up and up. It's the front page of the internet. So there we go. But yes, it looks like, here's the thing. Why would you, as a company, Disney, ever go file a copyright strike on someone if the leaks weren't true? They could be like, that's just made up bullshit. So you basically confirmed all the garbage leaks. So Disney has basically spoiled the whole movie for you. You can put the pieces together. There's probably no Force Baby, and I hope there's not, because that would be the dumbest. But other than that, we have all the leaks confirmed for us, thanks to Disney's litigious action. Well, it's not litigious action, but you get what I'm saying. So we've seen Kylo and Rey fight together, side by side. He has a blue lightsaber or a white lightsaber, depending on the saturation of the image. So that's dumb. If you look closely in the trailer, that Force dagger thing, that might be the Wayfinder. Like I said on the High Council, I could not imagine if they were to just copy the Avengers Endgame formula. They're just like, hey, we talk about reshoots, we talk about all this stuff with this film. Could you imagine if they looked at the success of that and like at the 0 hour back in, let's say, May, because April 26th is when Avengers came out or something like that. They just jump out and go, we're going to fix it and make it more like Avengers to make the money. But they forgot the point that it's not about being like the Avengers. It's that the Avengers built towards this for forever. Everyone and their grandma went and saw that fucking movie. It's the biggest of all time. The rise of my blood pressure. Yeah, if you love Star Wars, it's going to be that. Yeah, American Myth, I do agree that Star Wars is going down like the Titanic. I wanted to use that analogy for my video, but I thought most people would confuse it with me talking about the film Titanic, which is like one of the highest grossing films of all time. And, sometimes you just have to lay it out very clearly for people. Yeah, we do have 986 watching. That might be a Good Morning Pop Culture record. So it looks like it's high time for live stream. So shout out to everyone joining us this morning. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this. And more than likely, we'll have another one next week because of the High Council, again, being on my channel, which thumbs it up. We'll do a Thursday morning live stream, and we'll go from there. Yeah, that is sad, Spike and Madness. Thank you, N6044 620X, for hitting that thumbs up button. So do I think the film will be good? No. Here's the thing. You can't close out a trilogy properly because of how broken this thing is, how disjointed it is. I make the argument all the time, and I will till the film comes out. What is the payoff? What are we going to this film for? In modern cinema, studios go, we're going to this movie because it's a Star Wars film. It's because of the brand. It's because of Marvel. It's because of Terminator. If you're a fan of this shit, like you are, everyone on this channel, you're going to a movie to see a story, the conclusion of something. When we all went and saw Endgame, for those, I'd say most of us did, we went to see how Thanos was defeated, how Iron Man, the story arc, what happened, like the cliffhanger from Endgame or Infinity War. We went to see the epic conclusion to a really great film. There's nothing like that with this film, The Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi ended not on a cliffhanger, not on a, oh my God moment, it just ended. It was a very flat ending too. Like the actual ending, not the denouement or whatever it's called. The ending was just flat. Like Rey lifted some rocks. They flew off on a ship. and Rian Johnson defenders will go, look at how the Empire Strikes Back ended. Luke and Leia were on a medical frigate, and he puts his arm over her shoulder, and the Millennium Falcon flies away. Yeah, but what the fuck happened before that? Luke had a lightsaber fight, lost his hand, found out Vader was his father, Han Solo was captured and frozen in carbonite. That's a lot of shit to go on in just the final act of the film. What really happened? Where were stakes in The Last Jedi? There weren't. So when you go into Return of the Jedi, you have 1,000,001 questions to ask. Was that really Luke's father? Who's the Emperor? What's going to happen with Han Solo? How do they defeat the Empire? You know, all these questions. What's the questions here? How did this start? How did this happen? How did it get burned? I'm sorry. No, but honestly, the questions you would ask about Disney Star Wars are bad storytelling questions. It's like, how did this lightsaber get there? Oh, it's a story for another time. That'll never be answered. Because this thing was never made with a plan. It was always made to make money, which is fine. A lot of movies are made to make money. Less are made to make stories, or to tell stories. But in the case of Disney Star Wars, it's to make billions of dollars back on their investment. That's fine. I don't think they bought Marvel just for goodwill. But they delivered, I'd say, 88% of the time with Marvel. Yes, Captain Marvel's so bad it takes up 12% of the MCU. But I digress. The point I'm trying to get at, though, is with The Rise of Skywalker, what is the end of the story we're waiting on? Rey's journey? Completed. Kylo's redemption? Who gives a fuck? That's not even a real story arc in the film. That was never portrayed. Star Wars is good versus evil. Black and white. No gray. It's very simple. And Disney has somehow fucked up the most basic storytelling structure in the world. You know, I was on Mindless Bullshit yesterday with Jesse, and we were talking about that. And we were talking about gray area, and I made up the point about Marvel being kind of but I said Marvel is the black-white good hero versus villain, and she brought up Civil War. But I think Iron Man's the villain in that story. When I talk about superheroes, I think Captain America is the ultimate hero. People say, well, it's interesting to have the discussion, but for me, Iron Man's the wrong guilty party, and he tries to go back and fix these things, and he's the one that causes it all to fall apart. So to me, Iron Man's the villain of that film, not Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo was a good villain. But they tried to do something different with Star Wars. They got the wrong guy. You know, Disney Star Wars was all about name recognition, models, practical effects. We're using the original lens that filmed the original film. Who gives a shit? You know, I can use that to film, I don't know, somebody changing a tire. Does it make it awesome as Star Wars? No, it doesn't. It's just a lens. That's what it is. So they sold and people bought into that. But not this time. There's nothing, you can't pull that off again. You can't say, we went into the Lucasfilm archives and pulled out the original puppets that Phil Tippett animated from Jabba's palace. Thankfully, they all deteriorated. They would try shit like that. Oh, we're going to go get original speeder bike models. It worked 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever the movie came out. But now it's put up or shut up time. And as we've seen with J.J. Abrams, who can't end a damn thing, it's time to shut up. You know, all your Scott Mendelsons, all your Deadline Hollywoods that are making these bullshit articles up about, it break ticket sales and all this shit. Nice. Yeah, in the first hour, Solo did the same thing. It outstripped Black Panther for the ticket sales. Guess what got the final laugh? Black Panther, by the tune of $1 billion more than Solo: A Star Wars Story. So I don't want anybody to tell me, well, the ticket sales are doing great. No, they're not. If a movie ticket is so hot right now, I shouldn't be able to buy it for opening night. I live in a fairly big city. You know, Avengers sold out so quick. First off, the websites crashed for Avengers. Secondly, I had to go to a theater way out of the way just to get one ticket to go see Avengers. And that thing was jam-packed. You know, it was an event. So they had to take that stuff into account. It's, it reflects on society. You know, if everyone's got to go out and get it, like a new iPhone or a pair of Jordans or something, there's the demand. It's out there. But artificial demand, people lying and telling you it's so important and then telling you you're a sexist or a racist or a bigot if you don't agree, well, that's the Disney way. And eventually the Disney way is going to bite them in the ass. Ditzy says, Reddit leaks from Jedi Paxa seem really possible. Yes, they do. They definitely do. We covered those a long time ago in a video, maybe last month. I guess last month is not a long time ago. I know that sounds crazy. But that's the case. Let's see. Infinity War sucks. Hey, you're entitled to your own opinion. Let's see. Endgame is the best superhero movie ever. Again, I disagree, but you're entitled to think that. Best superhero movie for yeah, I thought Endgame kind of sucked. I would never sit and tell you guys I thought Endgame was the best. We did a review for it. I didn't really know how to say it. Then stuff came up and we talked about other stuff. But man, do I own a copy of Endgame? No, I don't. I got Infinity War, got all the other, well, not all the other ones, but I got the other ones to watch. No desire to watch that one. No desire to watch that one. What was the point of Snoke? Mr. CP, there was no point to Snoke. It was all misdirection and garbage. The point of Disney Star Wars was to get you talking about stuff for many years, only to have the rug pulled out from underneath you, and you feel betrayed and alienated. And that's why people don't rush out. Like when I do my next toy video, I went to another cheap discount store. What did I find? Rows of Snoke action figures. There's no way in hell that Disney wanted to create characters that people hated so much. You know, The Last Jedi probably has the most hated Star Wars characters. And maybe not hate is the right word. Apathy. Nobody really likes Rose Tico. I don't think anyone personally hates Kelly Marie Tran, but nobody likes Rose Tico. She just represents garbage. Now people hate Holdo because she sucks. It's another story. But you have Rose Tico, who nobody likes. Everyone hates Holdo. You have Snoke die and no one gave a shit. You don't have a likable hero. You don't have likable characters in that movie. Like who, if you're in the chat right now, what's a character from the Last Jedi that you glommed onto as a favorite? Luke Skywalker? They've somehow ruined Luke Skywalker too. Even Princess Leia, who has always been a consistent favorite of mine, just didn't do it in that movie. So, let's see where we at. We had a super chat roll in. Where are we at? From Andres Takasa. Excuse me. I'm sorry I butcher your name. One more week till Halloween. One more week till Halloween. Silver Shamrock. I love Halloween 3. I don't know if I mentioned this for you to hear it, but my copy of Halloween 3 got destroyed. Last year I bought the deluxe Blu-ray from Shout Factory. I don't know where it was in my house, but my mom goes, "Is this yours?" And it was the metal case, and it was all dented and like warped, and the disc was gone. And I was very sad because I really love Halloween 3. It's so fun. It's so different. I would like to watch it, but I can't. Well, I could buy another copy. Let's see. A lot of people. Here we go. George Orwell. While some questions were answered, Endgame left me asking, how do you feed 3.6 billion more people who show up at one time? I have never thought of that until right now, and that is an excellent question. Let me take a screenshot of that on my phone, because I'm going to ask that to the guys on the podcast tonight. That's a really good question. I feel like Endgame was just fan service, the movie. Some people would argue all the Marvel movies are fan service, the movie. I feel there's a story there. There are moments where I go, wow, that's cool. I didn't see that coming, especially in the first Avengers, a lot of that stuff. But yeah, if an extra half of the planet comes back, remember, it's been 5 years. They're going to adjust production costs. They're going to adjust, well, not costs, but just food, you know? The Purdue chicken plant, they're like, well, half the planet's gone. We're going to produce this. And then all of a sudden it comes back. It would have been much better in Endgame if they would have gone and made sure the snap never happened instead of having him reverse it. Because they think what they did is they wrote themselves a 5-year window to tell more stories where Robert Downey Jr. can pop back in for just a minute or this or that. That's really what it reeks of. But when you sit and like think about Endgame, the movie kind of doesn't fall apart necessarily, but it really hooked everyone on the emotional. It got everyone with the emotional hook. And then it kind of just story-wise was like, oh, that was enough. You know, all the memes are from like specific jokes, not anything relevant. So George Orwell, writer of 1984, that's a great question. So folks, if you're in the chat, if you can think of an answer to that, let me know. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple one. Kendo Slice wants to know, you feed the people with how big is Batista's dick? Oh, Kendo. You never cease to amaze me. I don't think that was Admiral Akbar in the trailer. It was another Mon Calamari officer, but I did see him. Alarian Horizon says, do you believe time favored the prequels? That's a good question. I know that it did for me. Literally the first words I said after leaving the theater for episode 7 is, I like episode 1 a whole lot more now. Those are my sentiments. Time has, for Star Wars fans, but the people that want to push the Disney narrative will always try to use the prequels as a tool to elevate the sequel trilogy. It's just how it is. I've always liked episode 3, and I actually have the episode 3 game, and the closer we get to the release of The Rise of Skywalker, we're going to do a live stream. We have a PS2, we have all the capture software. We're going to go do a playthrough of the Star Wars episode 3 game and have a lot of fun one night. But episode 2, I don't know if time's been really... I think the Clone Wars has helped episode 2. Because the clone battle at the end of the movie is cool. Not going to knock that. But I think people have become more aware of the Clone Wars itself as an event. You have all the Jedi being generals, and the clones become people's favorite characters. So, yeah, I guess overall I'm just going to say, yeah, time has been kind to the prequels. Not the CGI, and the stupid points are still the stupid points. But overall, in the grand scheme of a story that's trying to be told, I think it helps. Okay, so there you go. How do you view 3 billion? Space magic. You think Revenge of the Attack of the Clones is better than Revenge of the Sith? That'd be an interesting discussion to have. I just feel like Attack of the Clones starts out strong and kind of screeches to a halt in the middle, and then it picks up at the end. Revenge of the Sith kind of just builds and builds and builds, especially with Palpatine and the misdirection and how he's playing Puppet Master. And I remember how I felt when Owen Lars was looking off into the sunset. I was like, man, Star Wars, that was great. It's done. I can't wait to go home and watch A New Hope. So that was just me. Blair Reese, thank you very much. Always entertaining and pissy funny. Keep it up. Well, Blair, thank you very much for the compliment. I appreciate. We have 1,332 people watching. That's great for a damn World Class Bullshitters podcast, folks. So hit that thumbs up button, pound the muff button, smash the melee button. Was it moisten the... I don't even know what Brandon Moist used to say anymore, but thank you. Let's see what we got here. Star Wars died with Max von Sydow 4 minutes into The Force Awakens. I could agree with that. The only cool part, if you were to say, Jeff, you gun to your head, pick a cool part from episodes 7, 8, or soon to be 9. I guess the blast was cool. I guess when Kylo Ren stops it. But to me, it's much cooler when Darth Vader just gets shot in the hand and pulls the gun away. I thought that was much cooler. Kendo Slice says Captain Marvel 2, Revenge of the Karen Boogaloo. Have you guys seen that meme online? It's like some restaurant. No, it's at a store. Where they're like, no, Karen, you can't talk to the manager. All of the stuff is printed on the receipt. You do the work. I like that. Come back to Chicago. We love you guys. We'll be back to Chicago. At least personally, I will be by early next month. I'd love another Fandom Menace meetup. Chicago seemed to be a pretty good central location. People flew in for the celebration. I hope next year's celebration has a bigger turnout. It was great this year. I couldn't complain. Like, we had a bar full of people. Blew me away. But I'd like, to organize something really big. I'll talk to Jeremy about it, and we'll start working on something. We had plans for something else, which hasn't fallen apart. It just, we need more time. But let's make that happen. Wait, Han Solo sold Luke's money for beer money? Or sold Luke's medal for beer money? If that's true, and Darth Fatass, I believe you, I'd be pissed off if that's the case. Yes, what the Sith is. I would say that Disney really Johnsoned the new Star Wars trailer. I forgot about the Johnson joke. I've made so many videos, I forget what I've made, to be honest with you guys. It's just like, oh, yeah, got to make this video, put it out. People liked it. Oh, shit, I did make that. Let's see. David Morris, thank you very much. He says, Evil Black BB-8, the best character from The Last Jedi. Yeah, I mean, he was the most effective in the film, or it was the most effective in the film. Yeah, can't really argue that. I thought Benicio del Toro's character would be cooler. I thought wrong. So, let's see. Star Wars ended with Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I'm cool with it ending with Return of the Jedi. I like that. John Donald, we'd like to hang out with you too. We'll have more meetups. Our channel keeps growing. We just passed 141,000 yesterday. Last year at this time, we were at 71 or 72,000. So we've doubled in a year. That's pretty damn good, if you ask me. It's been a hell of a year. A lot of fun, a lot of travel. Next year is going to be even crazier because we have all kinds of stuff planned. Let's see. BB hate. Yeah, I assumed it's gender. Oops. Let's see. Hello to Vinceland. Hello to everybody here in the chat. We could have had the use on bong. We could have had a lot more. Like Beverly Goldberg says, I could have been a lawyer. Disney, Star Wars, I could have been great. But you weren't. So let's see what we got. Let's open one thing from the P.O. box. I feel like we got some great stuff going right now. So let's turn on the camera. Got a package right here. Don't want to show it because I don't want to dox anybody. But what is this? It's a DVD. Podge and Raj, A Scare at Bedtime, the complete first series. All 20 classic episodes, originally broadcast from 1997 through 1998, are available for the first time in this exclusive collector's edition. I hope this plays, because this is a region... Oh, it won't play here. It's a Region 2 DVD. Darn. I have to find a way to watch this. If anyone out in the chat knows how to watch multi-region DVDs, let me know, because it kind of sucks. I'd like to watch something scary and creepy around Halloween. But this did not come with a letter. This did not come with anything. So thank you. It is addressed to Jeff Muff. So thank you very much. There we go. Sorry, folks. There we go. Good old region lock. Yeah, DVD locking. I don't know. Can you do this on a VLC? Oh, VLC can do it? I have a VLC player on my other computer. So there we go. I will. Okay. What region is the U.S.? I believe we're region 1 here in America. Jeff, if they hold Star Wars Celebration in Orlando anytime soon, I'll be there to meet you guys. I would love that. Florida's okay. Besides Florida Man, who else do you go to the state for? But I'm all about meeting you guys. I'd like to. We're going to go to Germany next year. So if we have any European listeners, I don't know how far Germany is for you guys, but it'd be nice to meet international listeners. So I hear people talking about Terminator Dark Fate, the film that shouldn't. Hold on, we had a super chat from Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Reviews. It says, "Good morning, Vietnam." Well, good morning to you, Professor McCoy, and your Pop Culture Reviews. Thank you. So next week is Terminator. We talk about the LGBT 1000. We talk about all of these things. And so IGN is the shilliest of probably shill websites, even though we're going to reference them in a little bit for a laugh. They're giving Terminator a rated review of 8 out of 10. That's pretty high, too high if you ask me. IndieWire gives the film a 1.5 out of 5, so it's a 3 out of 10. That's a failing grade. To me, Terminator Dark Fate is representative of everything wrong in Hollywood. Just don't. That's all I can say. It's just don't. Let's see. I'm not boycotting episode 9. You have to go back and catch the replay for me to explain everything. Any fandom meetups for Texas planned? I don't know. I might be in Texas next year. We'll see if I can get a thing together, because I'll be going to these fencing tournaments with Jessie. So if I'm there on a Saturday afternoon while she's fencing, we could all meet up at a bar or a place and, have some snacks and hang out. Dan Vanoy says, "I can't wait to see Palpatine fly through space." Well, Dan, first off, thank you very much. Secondly, if you type in shooting star Palpatine, you can watch Palpatine float through space. Not only just float through space, but do that little cyclone move he does. I can't play it for copyright reasons, but you could Google it yourself, and I think you guys will be very, very, entertained. How far is Germany? Well, I'm going to Munich, so there you go, for Oktoberfest. Oh, Grand Inquisitor, I will never try to defend the Bengals. They're the worst football team in the world. I don't even care about sports. Good morning, Alpha Terranema. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that Dark Fate is The Force Awakens, and I think that sucks because I thought The Force Awakens was damning. To me, another film that is The Force Awakens was Halloween 2018. We're going to sell you on original actors, we're going to sell you on practical effects, we're going to sell you on all these little things around the movie, and then we're not going to give you a great story. And people say, well, shouldn't you give the film a chance? No. You don't give it your money and then get the... You can have an opinion on if you want to see a movie prior to paying for it, because once you pay it, they don't care. The movie could get 0 out of 10s, and every critic could give it a terrible score and say it's literal dog shit. But if it made $1 billion, the studio says it's a success, and they make more. Excuse me, I need coffee. What up, Walter? Let's see. Do I agree that The Force Awakens did not need Starkiller Base at all? Yeah. I thought that was one of the most heinous parts of the film. It's like, this new army exists, and they already have a Death Star. Like, in the first Star Wars movie, the Death Star had just become operational. They had just finished it. They're testing it out on Alderaan, even though Princess Leia tried to either do it on Dantooine, or defunct Rebel Base was. Point is that in the story, it made sense. How does this massive military force come to power? We don't ever know. And people say, you don't know in the original film, because you jump in the original story and they had been defeated by the end of the story. It's convenient that the same thing happens again. It's not good storytelling. Well, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that compliment. The Force Awakens did need blue milk. It really did. The Force Awakens is A New Hope, just 25% different. Yeah, and the 25% still sucks. Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Reviews, thank you very much. I have a question about the morons in Wokewood today. Sorry. I question how many of the the morons got in power in Wokewood today, and what happened to at least the best rule. Logic has been thrown out the window. The least is best rule. Probably because, like, CGI is so cheap, and other big indulgent movies like Marvel make a lot of money, so that's why the less is more rule is gone. It's like when you make a monster movie, you never show the monster. You know, you do a great job to not ruin who the killer is and all that stuff. But yes, Christina Hendricks is hot. But I don't know how the people got into power. Probably it's a lot like Kathleen Kennedy got into power. You got in early, you got in with other stuff, you became friends with the right people, and you kept going on and on, building your way through the ranks. And then you have the power. I can't think of anything creatively Kathleen Kennedy did prior to Star Wars or prior to this stuff. You know, she was there. She's on Back to the Future. She didn't make Back to the Future great. You know, it's an impressive resume, but what did you actually achieve on the film? Just because your name's attached to something doesn't make it, you know, your film. If Starkiller Base was the super weapon in Episode 9, it'd be less offensive. But it still sucks. Yeah, Uncle Remus, I agree. You could have had a young John, Sarah, and Arnold for the majority of the film. I don't care about the Mackenzie Davis character. It's nothing about how she looks like a dude. It's the trope I hate, and this is not popular with a lot of people. I don't care about robots wanting to become human. What does it mean to be human? It's fine in Blade Runner. But it's the same premise in all these stories. It's like, stop chasing the Blade Runner unicorn. Stop trying to be something else. Stop trying to be smart sci-fi. Terminator was great the way it was. The first one was dark, kind of scary at times. This killer robot comes from the future to assassinate this woman, and Kyle Reese, the Resistance fighter, comes back to save her. I love this story. T2 is better for me. A lot of people would argue T1's as good as T2. I go T2 is the best one. Bigger action, just a better film for me, at least. But I don't like the idea of trying to go back and change characters and make it about something else. It's just been an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where shit blows up. That's what the most basic premise of Terminator could be. Thank you, Johnny Metal, for joining the channel. We appreciate you. So, Cormoran, welcome back. Dark Fate, female TH from Salvation teams with T800 from Genesis to protect female John Connor from male TX and T3. We have Sarah Connor. If that's the premise of the movie, well, I was going to stay home anyway, folks. I was never going to rush out to go see the new Terminator film. I'm definitely not going to go see it now. Again, vote with your wallets. If you were impressed by the trailer, you do you. That's no judgment on my end. But I can't. I saw Genesis in theaters because my aunt wanted to go. And you don't tell when your aunt's taking you on vacation and she's like, let's go to a movie. Let's see Terminator. You don't say, no, Aunt Pat, I'm not going to see it. You just go see it. And she bought big popcorn and drinks for everybody. And she's the most generous lady in the family. But the movie sucked. Did not like it. Haven't seen all of Salvation. And T3's garbage. So it's kind of hard to be excited from the whole standpoint of why should I be excited? We'll give it a chance. My uncle, did you give him a chance? Sorry. Would I ever consider a drunk viewing of Galaxy Quest? Shit, I'd view it sober. I love Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest and the Orville are like the best Star Trek movie and best Star Trek show since the original Star Trek for me. So never give up, never surrender. I should do that this year because Galaxy Quest turns 20. Who said that? Cassie, if you remind me through another live stream or something, I'll tell the guys. Kendo, if you're still listening, write it down. We're doing Galaxy Quest by the end of the year. That'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. So AJ Journeyman prefers T1 over T2. Fine, that's cool. Like I said, that's one of those things where I get it. It's both movies have a lot of substance and are great films in their own right. T1 is classic old school style thriller. It definitely is. It has some awesome moments. Love the music in that one. Who's the greatest movie villain of all time and why is it Buffalo Bill? Good choice. I still go Darth Vader. He's so cool. Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much. He says, Jeff, check out the YouTube channel called Darth Angelus. He CGI animated the first 2 chapters of Heir to the Empire. It's pretty good. Spend this on booze. Gladly will spend it on booze because I'm going to Milwaukee in 2 weeks and, be drinking with Jesse. So there we go. But I'll check out the channel. I just took a screenshot of your super chat so I can check that out because somebody was mentioning it to me earlier in the week. And I definitely want to see it. The Boys was great. Where are we at? That was a super chat. I'll get right to that in a second. Dan Vinoy. Let's see. Geek Chorus says, plot blurb is the same as T2. Just change girl to boy. So we're going to see the girl go to an ATM with her redheaded friend on the back of a dirt bike while Guns N' Roses plays and they rob an ATM. Sign me up. Dan Vinoy says, have you seen The Boys on Amazon? It's top shelf. Yeah, I actually wanted to do a video on it. When did The Boys come out? Was that before or after Las Vegas? For those who don't know, we had a Fandom Menace meetup in Las Vegas. And at the time, I kind of had a thing going on. And then I ended up getting kidnapped and going to California for a month. Still made videos, still appeared on the High Council. Only time I didn't was when I got sick. So I can't remember if that was pre or post California. But The Boys was excellent. I loved every minute of it. And I would go back and watch it again. I'm actually working on a video series, not a series, but a video talking about how comic book genre will never go away, but the Marvel brand may fade back a little bit. I'm not saying Marvel's going to disappear. That'd be stupid. But what I am saying is that I think other independently produced comics can get picked up by Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, whoever. Not Hulu, because that's Disney now. My point is, independent comics can be picked up and turned into something great. I thought The Tick was one of the best adaptations in terms of comic to TV ever. So I guess Amazon has a great track record. But I loved The Tick. Every episode was awesome. Season 2 was even better than Season 1. Lobster Hercules was great. I loved the tone. Peter Serafinowicz was great. Everyone. Best Arthur. Danger Boat, voiced by Alan Tudyk, was great. Loved it. Can't sing its praises enough. The only thing I'm pissed about is that it ends on a cliffhanger and there's no more show. So I now know why Firefly fans cry. Lethal Lightning says, I have no care at all for episode 9. EU is the way to go. I have EU books. I have been trying to get into them, not because it's a hard sell on Star Wars, it's because I just haven't had a lot of time to read. So I have, like I said, Ambush on Corellia and another book that I can't read the title from here. I have the Thrawn trilogy. I have Shadows of the Empire, all kinds of books. I think I'll take those with me. I have to fly to Philadelphia for Thanksgiving, so maybe I'll just take a Star Wars book instead of watching a movie on the plane. Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Review says, the Duchess of Hazzard, I'm calling it. Them Duke girls at it again. You know, Professor McCoy's Pop Culture Review, they actually beat you to the punch. It was the Paris Hilton reality show. What was that? The Simple Life? With Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. They were the Duchesses of Hazzard. So, there you go. Them Hilton girls at it again. But I'd watch that. Actually, I wouldn't watch that. I hate reality TV. I don't really watch a lot of television in general because the stuff that's on, like even Food Network is starting to get a little meh for me. Like I only would watch Food Network because it's like an instructional thing. You watch it, you learn how to cook. Maybe you get to see a part of the world that you wouldn't normally see. But now it's reality shows, it's Cupcake Wars, it's all these other shitty Jeffrey Zakarian people wearing bow ties cooking a meal. Like you don't cook dinner in a suit and tie at home. Like I'd rather look at like Emerald sweating his ass off with a fucking chef's coat on because that's believable than like Katie Lee and all these other douchebag people that I don't believe can cook. You know, you making Cool Whip in a pan with some Jell-O isn't Food Network quality. Don't even get me started on Guy Fieri. I digress. Sorry. But no, I would not watch the Duchesses of Hazzard because it would not be, worth my damn time. Hail to Demogeny. Carl Urban was not just good as Dredd, it was a fantastic movie, and it was sad that it didn't make a lot of money. But I think they were going to do a Mega City 1, show, but they never did. MCOC Josh, I'm sorry to hear about your loss, man. I understand your pain. My dad did die too, but it's great to have you back, and thanks for coming back, man. I appreciate it. You know, Timothy Zahn should have written a Star Wars film, hands down. That's one thing I hate about Hollywood. It's like, oh, name recognition. I don't care about Chris Terrio and Michael Arndt and all these other people, Rian Johnson that wrote Star Wars films. If you've written great Star Wars fiction and your name is not Chuck Wendig, because let's be honest, great and Chuck Wendig don't go together in a sentence unless it's like the greatest asshole in history, Chuck Wendig, who got fired for being one. That's why he's the greatest in history. I can give compliments where compliments are due. I'm a fair man. I'm a just man. But no, Timothy Zahn should have written a Star Wars film. It would have been fun. You know? Again, in a perfect world, 1999 would have been Han, Luke, and Leia coming back. No prequel era stuff. Now could have been the prequel era because you didn't need the other actors to do it. You know, Ewan McGregor could have played Obi-Wan in 2015. You could have just, that's just a reality I like to play. Maybe we'll make a video about alternate realities. Lethal Lightning, thank you very much. He says, make the time it's worth if you want good Star Wars. Make the time. It's worth it if you want good Star Wars in regards to the books. Yes. The animated thing is what you're talking about. I will check it out. Probably over the weekend. Maybe Sunday I'll have some time before my Monday video. I gotta make my videos earlier. I make them all on time. I just need to make them earlier so I can make more stuff. I will be talking about Scorsese and Marvel. Remember my Marvel problem series that did surprisingly well? Like I said, when I say something does well, I don't say it to brag. Sometimes I think out loud. And I didn't expect the Marvel problem series to do as well as it has. That the Brie Larson one blew me away. I was like, Jesus, people still care about this chick? Okay. But hey, I enjoy what I talk about. I don't think I ever hate making any videos. What up, Dr. Coffin Nails? Thanks for coming out to all the horror hounds, man. I see you in the chat. Lurking and working. Hail to Sketch Therapy. Professor McCoy says, Warhammer 40K written by Marvel. Brothers, purge the heretics. You know what? I don't call for boycotts on movies, but don't buy Marvel comics. That's the one thing I will say publicly. It's like, who cares? They're shit books anyway. I love Spider-Man. I have wanted to collect every issue ever. There was a point in time where I would go to the comic book store and spend $50 a week. I don't spend any money on comics. And I feel bad too, because my local guys, Rock and Rooster Comics and Games, are great people. Rick and Dave are some of the nicest retail owners you'll ever meet. They'll bend over backwards for you if you need a book. I remember, I can't remember the exact issue, but they accidentally gave one of mine away. And Dave went into his personal pull list to give me his copy. And there's a time where they made another mistake and they went and they ordered me a book and went to another store that they didn't even own. They went and bought me the book and brought it to me from another store. So I'm just saying, like, those types of people are really important for the comic book industry. That's who suffers. For every douchey editor or crappy writer, and I never really attack the artist because the artists are paid to do a job, and realistically, the art is pretty damn consistent. If you look at the best Marvel has to offer in terms of artwork, you're getting some really great stuff. Whenever Steve McNiven gets put on a book, like a miniseries or something, you know it's going to be good. And you're thinking, who's Steve McNiven? Well, he drew Civil War. He drew Old Man Logan. He's done Spider-Man titles. I'm going to show you who he is real quick. That guy is actually so good, we're going to look him up. He is, he's like Marvel's Ethan. So let's look at his artwork real quick. I'm a big fan. He's Canadian. Did not know that. But I'm sure you guys know a lot of his work because it's fucking great. So the Civil War comic book was Steve McNiven. We'll just show this real quick, just for a moment, folks. We'll do a screen share. I love this program. If you enjoy the StreamYard, let me know. But yeah, this is older Steve McNiven artwork. But this is some great shit. I absolutely love this, Captain America jumping out of the plane at the end of the first issue of Civil War. When you get this guy on a book, you're going to get some really amazing stuff. And there we go. That's a great image right there. One of the things we kind of got in the film. So there's my comic book art for the day. Remember when I used to do bad comic book art segments on Good Morning Pop Culture for fun? We'll do some great comic book art for today. And Steve McNiven gets my award for Artist of the Day. It'd be funny if Steve McNiven listened to this channel. He's like, hey, they like me. Yeah, dude, a lot, okay? A lot. I have these how to draw books where he's done a segment on how to draw female hair. I don't know if Ethan's in any of those. I'll look them up. They were produced by Wizard, so they would have Marvel and DC artists. If they do, I'll send pictures out on Twitter. But back to your super chat, Professor McCoy. I'm not into the Marvel stuff, man. I can't throw that out there for people to go buy. Goober Brothers Entertainment, thank you very much. Good morning, man. My buddy bought me a ticket for episode 9. Bring in a flask labeled The Force. Also, you should definitely come on the channel soon. Well, Goober Brothers Entertainment, I think I know who you are. Just shoot us an email. Realistically, the next couple of months, like throughout the end of the year, is kind of busy. Comics done, just get ready to send out and do that kind of stuff. But with some travel for the holidays and big channel stuff that we're getting ready for 2020. It's funny, people think, well, not you guys don't. You watch this stuff, so thank you. But a lot of people that think that I do YouTube are like, oh, you just kind of sit there and do one thing. Like we're planned out months in advance. Kendo and I will sit down and have business meetings and plan shit out for next year. I have a series of videos that I'm going to get ready to start working on for 2 months from now. I came up with 4 months ago. So it all just depends. But Goober Brothers, I'd love to help people out. It just depends. If it's for a live stream for like an hour, that's a much easier sell or get depending on the day you go live. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesday, maybe a weekend. That's really the best time I could ever say to you is maybe a weekend. So you just got to let me know. Shoot me an email, worldclassbs@mail.com, or tag us on Twitter. A Twitter message would help too. But that'd be the best way, and I'd love to help you guys out if I can. Let's see. Sorry that you're, Tim Riggs, 1,100 people for Good Morning Pop Culture. That might be the record. I'll be honest, if we had a consistent turnout of 1,100 people every day for Good Morning Pop Culture, I'd be like, shit, I guess I got to do this again. So, oops, I shouldn't have said that. Let's see. We had Damajanai who says the clowns at Disney confirmed leaks with strikes. We did talk about that earlier on. Yeah. Why would you go after somebody if the leaks were fake? You know, misdirection, mystery box, all these wonderful words that J.J. Abrams loves. And now we have confirmation, the word J.J. Abrams hates, because it confirms how shitty your fucking movie is going to be. Come on, the Emperor. I know it could be a Force vision. We don't know the context of everything, but we've seen stills and clips. And I remember I saw the scene of Han Solo getting stabbed before I saw episode 7. But it didn't surprise me because I knew he was going to die the entire time. But I digress. Yeah. So let's see. That is that. Yes, this is Good Morning Pop Culture. Alpha Mar, welcome back. I forgot to put it in the title, but yeah, this is a Good Morning Pop Culture. So let's see. The name's Ray Skywalker. Ugh, if that's the case, that's not going to be a good turnout for me. It wasn't a clickbait title. We talked about the boycott in the very beginning of the show. You just got to show up early. Sorry. All of our streams have a layout. If you don't catch the beginning, well, there's the replay to catch it. Lucasfilm is run by clowns, and it seems like the clowns are getting fired. Remember Kiri Hart from the story group that we talked about last year, and we looked up the thing is we look up all these people's resumes, and it's in Hollywood, it's who you know, not what you know. And clearly these people know the right people and say the right things, or the people that hire them feel better about themselves for hiring said person. It's you know, that's the case. I have to do more of these. It requires sleep, and other channel work requires staying up late. So if somebody can like turn me into a robot that still has the same emotions and memories and feeling, basically if you can make it where I don't need to sleep and not have any adverse effects, sure, we can do all of it. It was a lot of it's fun though. Yeah, I have a lot of problems with the Death Star being blown up the way it is. It's like it went nuclear, blew up. It's just a fireball in space. Yet we have huge chunks. Like the Emperor's throne room survived. Seriously, the Emperor's throne room, of all the things for to be untouched, because it's recognizable for the fans to go, "Oh my God, I know this. I remember." That's all I can say. Let's see. Yeah, if Rey is a Skywalker, it's not foreshadowed. Rey Skywalker is better done in fan fiction than films. Star Wars doesn't need to always be about like the family of this and that. My favorite characters are like Han Solo and Boba Fett and stuff like that. I'm okay with a Star Wars movie without a lightsaber if it doesn't suck. You know, Rogue One only has the one lightsaber scene, and it's pretty awesome. Solo has a lightsaber scene at the end, and it sucks. So, whatever. Lokio7 says, have you been watching AEW? What do you think? I've caught an episode here and there. I don't have cable. I feel like it's a waste of money, but I've watched their pay-per-views and I like them overall. It's fun. The thing is, it's wrestling. It's just plain old wrestling, and that's what's cool. I don't have storylines of Bobby Lashley sleeping with Rusev's wife. I don't have storylines of fictional supernatural characters who have a puppet show that's supposed to be dark and scary. I don't have stupid shit. It's just basic wrestling. So I like it. I hope it does well. I always wish people in business well. I hope every other YouTuber does well. I hope independent business does well. Because what's the worst that could happen? Everyone's successful. So how is that a bad thing? And if a company puts out shit I hate, I just want them to do better. Like the WWE, they're unwatchable. Do I want them to go out of business? No, I want you to get your shit together, because some of my happiest memories in life were from when wrestling was good. So, I'm going to do any fan meetups in Philadelphia. I'm not going for I'm going for Thanksgiving. So it's not really going to be like a fan meetup thing. Maybe, I don't know. When I go for events for fan meetups, I make myself available the entire weekend, like Celebration. With the exception of the first night, we were hanging out with fans all the time. We had Andy from the UK, just people. We just hang out at the show. We have meet and greets. Jeff the Iron Wolf and his wife came up, all kinds of shit. So when we have like channel sanctioned ones, I'll be able to give you guys more time. If I'm going to be in town for a weekend and have time, we can do that too. It just depends. Philadelphia one, I don't know. So I can't promise anything. Let's see. RA, thank you very much. Luke and Leia don't show up to save Ben, whom they failed. They show up to save a 2-bit literal bitch whom they literally met 2 days ago, though. Yeah, they really don't care about that stuff. It's one of those situations where it's like, we're going to make the audience think she's so important by X, Y, and Z. And what I mean X, Y, and Z is it's like, well, they give her the Falcon, they do this, they do that. They give her all the tools. She's an OP video game character. It's like Rey bought the DLC, and then she's supposed to be everyone's favorite because she's the most powerful in this and that, but she's also virtuous and good. Superman's interesting. Rey's not. And if you want to I'm just looking at the icon. I didn't make the icon, by the way. A listener made me this icon, and I absolutely love it. So I think his name's Daniel. So Daniel, thank you very much. But Superman has weaknesses, has flaws. There's a compelling case that Superman. Well, not compelling case. It's not the right way to say it. Superman can be defeated. Superman has been defeated. Superman can't save the people he loves in his life the most. There are things that always make Superman fun. One of my favorite Superman stories of recent times was when he decided to ground himself and walk across the country. Just little things like that, because he's an alien and he's trying to be human. And there's a lot of stories you can tell. Then again, some of the best Superman stories are like when he's fighting people. But Rey doesn't have that. And you'd think, well, Jeff, Superman's had 82 years of stories to tell. And they can evolve the character and develop the character. Rey's only been around for 4 years. That is true. But Luke Skywalker and all those Star Wars characters, Han, Vader, they all had things that made them interesting from the get-go. They captured hearts and minds of children. I remember the first time I saw Star Wars, I'm like, I want these toys. Didn't even know how to get them. But, my Power of the Force 2, Luke Skywalker, he looked like He-Man, but that's my Luke Skywalker. And then we went on adventures together. It inspires that. I can't think of how Rey would inspire anyone to go on this great adventure, because she doesn't. Even if I look at it through the eyes of a child, which I can see why kids like any Marvel hero, any of them. People say, well, why would a kid like Groot? Well, because Groot's funny and cute and this and that, and they laugh. Or people be like, why does a kid like Falcon? Well, Falcon can fly. Falcon does cool stuff. Rey whines and moans. She complains about, oh man, who am I in the universe? Who am I supposed to be? Those kind of things aren't interesting for a Star Wars film. They try to do, I think they try to do too much. Maybe you just should do some of the basic shit and give us a fun story that we can all go shut our minds off and enjoy and feel respected. That's where a lot of people get angry. People don't feel respected. Let's see. Dietrich Garbo. I like your icon. Is that Homestar Runner? No, that's not Homestar Runner. Anyway, so Superman can't save everyone and will die alone. Yes, he will die alone. That's very, very sad to think about. He's one of the last remaining people of his planet. I think Supergirl was his cousin, Kara Zor-El. See, I don't like when they try to expand the characters and do all that shit too. It's like, she's fine. I don't hate Supergirl, but I kind of like when he's like the lone Kryptonian in the entire galaxy and all that stuff. But yeah, he will die alone. He'll outlive Lois Lane. He's outlived the Kents. He'll outlive Jimmy Olsen. It's got to be a very Dr. Manhattan became removed from reality. He became less and less human. He had to try to be human. Superman, essentially was. And because he grew up a human, a person in Kansas, but he has to watch the things he cares about wither and die away. That would make a really good Superman story. Maybe it's been done. What's the one? Superman, All-Star Superman, where he ends up getting he dies at the end or some dumb shit like that. So there's a lot to do with Superman. Superman's a much better playground to operate in than Rey. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot. Thomas R. Hart, shout out to you. I'm seeing some comic book names, so there we go. See Jim Aparo, Norm Brayfogle. Didn't Norm Brayfogle pass away recently, within the last calendar year? I think I remember reading that. Kelly Jones was not a favorite Batman artist of mine either. Hello, you massive. Thank you, Barbarella Alpha. I should check out Max Tavern while in Philly. Well, I'm taking a screenshot of that, Grand Inquisitor. That is my favorite show. Can never get enough. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Let's see. Qui-Gon, thank you very much. Vince started the trope of sacrificing long-term storytelling for shock value by booking Taker's loss at WrestleMania 30 against Lesnar. The Last Jedi is comparable to that. Ooh, I love when people know their wrestling shit. Makes me happy. We have that kind of pop culture audience. Vince sacrificed long-term storytelling a long time ago. I would say with John Cena, because it was you couldn't even build a story because it's like LOL Cena wins. That was the joke for a while. Undertaker should have retired at WrestleMania 28 when he won against Shawn Michaels. When that was 20-0, that should have been the end of it. There should have never been another Undertaker match. End of an era? Yes. 20-0, retire. What has the Undertaker contributed to the WWE since 2012? Embarrassment. He's old. Let the man retire. He's nothing to the company anymore, like in terms of actually wrestling. You know, people pay to see him. Awesome. If he's your favorite, more power to you. But yeah, Last Jedi did do that. I think The Force Awakens did that as well. You had Han Solo's death to shock and surprise people and try to elevate Kylo Ren as this great character. Because when you're trying to rip off A New Hope and you go beat for beat for beat, you go, well, Obi-Wan Kenobi died. The mentor character died. Somebody's got to die. They really don't, though, because I never thought of Han Solo as the mentor character. He was the villain turned hero. He was the rogue turned into rebellion, captain, and then eventually general. Just because he's an old guy with white hair doesn't make him, Shepherd Book. He's not this wise old whatever. There were lines that he said in the movie that I like. There were lines that I hated. Luke Skywalker was the same way. I guess the best thing to compare to what you're saying, though, is when Luke Skywalker threw the lightsaber over the shoulder and the whole scene of him waking up and doing the fishing and the milking of the green tit and all that. That was when you had your Lesnar moment and you freaked out. Ray bypassed the compressor. I don't want to talk about that. Ugh. Let's see. Dr. Coffinails, thank you very much. Late due to this morning's meeting from hell. By the way, your old thumbnail with the dyes on Han's forehead still cracks me up. Yeah, I remember that one. One of the videos I'm working on. Sorry, Dietrich Garbo. I'm going to read your super chat. They kind of jumped up. Yeah, that was one of the things I remember making because I'm going to make a video, or I was making a video. I'm still going to make it. It's almost done, actually, where I play the old clip of me watching episode 7, like the minute after I saw it, and how heartbroken I was. I even had to re-download the image to put it in the video, and I remember that. I was just like, "Yep, that's what happened." Well, yeah, of course I'm going to reference the John Byrne Superman because it was rebooted 2 years before I was born. So Silver Age Superman is I respect. Was it Kurt Swan, Wayne Boring, all those guys? I just don't. To me, if you're going to show me an old DC comic from the 50s and 60s where it's like Lois Lane got fat, how could Superman be with this woman? Or just like those random stupid covers, I usually lose interest and won't want to pick up those kind of books. DC from the late 60s when Carmine Infantino was doing some Batman stuff, like the covers mostly, and then through modern DC, I'll pick them up. But there's a window of DC that I'm not going to buy. Dietrich Garbo says Superman's real weakness is humanity. Excellent point. I wish more people that made movies understood that. I would love a great Superman movie, but will we live? What's more likely, a great Superman film or a truly great Disney Star Wars film? Let me know in the chat. Let's see. Professor McCoy's pop culture review. Opinion on Secondhand Lion. Is that the Michael Caine movie? No. What is Secondhand Lion? I know the name. Who's in this? Robert Duvall. That is Michael Caine. I knew. I've never seen this movie, but I remember seeing the trailer for it. Haley Joel Osment. Man, he grew up from Sixth Sense kid to Al Borland. That's what he looks like these days. Sorry, Professor McCoy. I do not have an opinion on it because I haven't seen it, but maybe one day if I'm on an airplane or something, I'll check it out. Qui-Gon says, agreed. 20-0 was a fitting end. The Force Awakens pissed me off. It's hard to watch wrestling now as a fan because it's just kind of dumb, especially Seth Rollins, who I thought I wanted to be the world champion more than anybody else, excuse me, universal champion. But for every Seth Rollins match, you get Seth Rollins on Twitter being a douche nozzle. He injured Sting. It's all this shit. Like, yeah, 20-0. I was there for most of the Undertaker's. I've been to every WrestleMania since 22. So I've seen a good chunk of the Undertaker's matches at WrestleMania. So let me see. We had a bunch of super chats pop up. We had Cineverse653. Thank you very much. He says, "What up, Jeff? Working and lurking here. Do you think the horror genre has been played out? It seems like everything has been done already. I'd love to tell a true horror kaiju story." I don't think any genre is truly played out. I mean, sometimes things just need a little bitty break. You know, people would say, well, the slasher genre is dead from the 80s, but then Scream came out, kind of made it a joke, made it deconstructed it is what I'm trying to say. And then we had a series of that, and they came back and they were successful. You know, quality is subjective, what you enjoy. But I do think the genre came back. Supernatural horror seemed to be dead, but then you had your Paranormal Activities, you had your Insidious, all those ones. I think everything's cyclical in entertainment in general. Horror, comic books, westerns, mobster movies, all that stuff is cyclical. But right now, horror does seem like it needs a little break. I think what would be nice is if you were going to do a slasher flick, make it like set one in the 1980s, like a Stranger Things or something. And it's just self-referential, balls to the wall, crazy fun. You know, Halloween should be done for a while. Nightmare on Elm Street, it's been 10 years. Maybe you could bring Freddy Krueger back. You could do something with him, but you got to make it scary. You got to make it dark. Like with comedy, you can't worry about offending people. Sometimes you just gotta get the emotional gut reaction out of these people. So when you do your horror movies, you want to shock people. You want them to be scared. Now, I'm one of those people that has seen so many horror movies that it's hard to scare me. What scares me is things that are plausible. Like I always talk about this movie, The Den, where a girl she's on the internet, somebody hacks her computer, they figure out where she lives, she gets kidnapped. They basically were going to turn her into a sex slave and on a webcam show, and then she tries to escape and all this other stuff. It's all told from like a found footage point of view, so it's like extra creepy because you don't know whose computer we're actually watching this all on. It makes me feel very uncomfortable, but that's the whole point of the film. The kaiju horror story, I would like that. That seems very H.P. Lovecraftian. I would like a big monster movie that just like you have no hope to win. It's just it's a futile effort. You're done. That would be kind of fun for me. It'd be very fun for me, actually. So there's always going to be independent horror. Cineverse653. Oh, zombie genre is definitely played out right now. I think independent horror creators should take it upon themselves to stop trying to homage everything and make schlocky garbage, because a lot of the schlocky garbage you like was made out of necessity. Make something really great. You know, take your time. Be the next John Carpenter. Don't try to be the next Lloyd Kaufman. You know, it's funny to talk about making a Troma style movie or this or that or the gore or the guts over the top. But Lloyd Kaufman goes to horror conventions and hangs out at a table. John Carpenter gets invited to inside the actor's studio and makes, you know, iconic films. And people say, well, the Toxic Avenger's iconic. To a very small degree. What's bigger, Halloween or the Toxic Avenger? What's more iconic, John Carpenter's The Thing or Surf Nazis Must Die? What's more iconic? Literally anything else John Carpenter's done, like Christine, Escape from New York, all the music he's done, or, you know, redneck zombies. Yes, there's always going to be a market for that crap, but I don't think you should, for horror to be truly respected again, like it was in decades prior, maybe you just got to treat it with a little more reverence and make something that no one can deny. It's funny. We critique Disney Star Wars or certain aspects of Marvel or Star Trek or whatever. But if you make something that's really great, people really can't critique the quality of the film. And the discussion, if you have an agenda to tear down the movie, it becomes more obvious. Like, I thought Joker was excellent. What was the narrative of the Joker in the media? They're trying to say it promotes violence, this, that, and the other. Never once did I see that in the film. I watched a movie that made me question a lot of things in a good way. Was it real? Did this happen? How do I feel about the Joker as a character? Do I feel for Arthur Fleck? That is a sign of something that will live on for a long time. Not because it's just DC branded, because it had a lot to say. That's what I want out of a horror movie. You know, the first Halloween has that. First Nightmare on Elm Street has that. That's just how I feel about it. So I hope I answered your question accurately. Liquor Jim, what's up? Sorry I'm late to the stream. Glad you appreciated the cards. Still had hope Lucasfilm would turn things around. Then I saw the final trailer. Liquor Jim, by the way, thank you for the cards, and thank you for the postcard. I do have that in the bag as well. I remember, you got to be, at least for me, I always speak for myself, got to be realistic. If you've been disappointed the last two times, what's going to change on the third? You know, they have dug their heels into the ground and they are going to ride this thing out for the good or the bad. And a lot of fans are like, hey, this is not good. But at least they did it their way and they fell apart. But Liquor Jim, thank you very much for everything you send in. Let's see. Grand Inquisitor, that is the working and lurking and all that stuff's going to be coming soon. I had to finish the comic. I couldn't justify trying to sell you guys merchandise and not have the comic done. So now that it's done and it's going to be on its way to people, and if we post like 19 or 20 updates in the thing, so you guys can check it out and shared a lot of the work. But now that it's done, we're going to do the second printing and we'll have the mugs and stuff like that. It'll all be available. You can buy yourself any world-class bullshitters merchandise you'd like for Christmas. It'll be available from now moving forward. We'll have monthly editions and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're looking for that, you'll get tons of that in the coming weeks. Just stay tuned. Eric Santucci, thank you very much. The most insulting thing about the sequel trilogy is the invalidation of Return of the Jedi. Palpatine's death and rebirth of the Jedi, now Rey's achievement apparently. Boom. That's how I feel. You basically spoke my mind for me. Each Star Wars movie each sequel trilogy film undoes what a previous Star Wars film does to elevate Rey. Han Solo's character arc from A New Hope, undone. Luke's character arc, undone. And now it looks like the entire film of Return of the Jedi is going to be undone to retell the story of Return of the Jedi. Disney picked the wrong franchise to try to remake. Star Wars is too ingrained in people's hearts. It was too popular. How many Star Wars books, how many Star Wars records that told the story? Star Wars is burned in millions and millions of people's brains. I guarantee you, if you were to go to a mall and you ask somebody to tell you the basic story or you ask someone to say, hey, tell me what happens in Star Wars, you could get an idea. They could come up with a general outline of that. Like I said, with The Wizard of Oz, it's a very iconic film. People would recognize that. Disney trying to go back and redo it, it's going to create a problem for a lot of people moving forward. And I absolutely hate, Lucas, when he added the no for Darth Vader, he took away a 10 out of 10 scene and made it an 8 out of 10. And people say, but it's the same thing. But sometimes less is more. We talked about that earlier in the stream. One of our listeners sent that super chat about less is more. The Darth Vader redemption scene, when he looks, he's wearing a mask that does not change, but you could actually see his facial expressions somehow. I don't know. But I can see the internal struggle on Darth Vader's masked face. I don't need to hear no, and then throw the Emperor. It just doesn't work that way for me. But this takes away that. That is probably the last. Like, there are moments in movies that, give you the goosebumps. The last couple of notes before the Death Star explodes does it for me. But every time Darth Vader picks up the Emperor and throws him over, I always get that. Even thinking about it now, I'm feeling it because that's just a powerful scene. And it's like, oh, I didn't see that one coming. I just remember as a kid, I saw it. I was like, oh my God, Darth Vader, he saved the day. I never saw that coming. And you just get the, the feels, people talk about the feels. That scene always did it for me. But like Han Solo, the character, I can never truly love him the same because they told more about him that never needed to be told, and they took away his achievement. Same with Darth Vader. Now, when I see Episode 9, that scene's not going to have the same impact for me. So what I'm going to do prior to this new episode is I'm going to watch the original trilogy one last time under the guise of the story was supposed to end here. They kept dragging it on, and now this is what it is. Maybe that's another reason why, trying to think of a good example. Why I didn't like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, or not, excuse me, I take it back. Why I didn't like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The Last Crusade ended the story perfectly. And then you have to hear, well, his dad died, and Sala died, and Marcus is dead, and this, and we never, it's like you were just a deadbeat dad. And I never once as a kid was worried about Marion. I didn't care about Marion. It's like she was in the first movie. She was fine. They went off and did their own thing. Then there's Willie Scott. Then there's Dr. Elsa Schneider. Like Indiana Jones was like Bond. He had a new girl each movie, and that's how it operated. I never looked at Marion as the love of his life. If anything, I looked at it as kind of weird that he, Marion was young and Indiana Jones was a little old for her. But that's the topic for another time. Point I'm trying to get at, though, is this incessant desire to tell you more about the characters and ruin their achievements. And I still do not believe that Palpatine could have survived that blast. I think Palpatine died. I don't like that they're trying to resurrect him because he's the ultimate evil in the universe and all this stuff. Okay, so let's see. I gotta pull up the other window. Okay, so first off, let's see. That was from Eric Santucci. Thank you, Eric. Where are we at? Dietrich Garbo. No, wait. Read that one. Sorry. Thank you for everybody. The Fixer says, sorry I'm late. Just got up from my night class. As for boycotting Star Wars, I'm sorry to say that most people are like my dad. It's Star Wars, so it's good. So it's good. Most entertainment will become clean, for lack of a better term, because everyone wants the big bucks from China. I miss the old Tom Clancy stuff. That, I thought we were in the clear. Because remember a couple of years ago when they were incorporating Chinese actors, Chinese Chinese pieces of product placement, Chinese product placement. Like, was it Transformers had that box of milk or whatever? Like, I thought we were through that. Now I have no problems with any people, especially the people of China. It's not really like a bias I have against them. But these companies that are like, I get it, that Tencent's coming in and they're making movies and stuff like that. But then I thought that the Chinese market wanted Chinese films, so they support those. And that Western producers and studios would say, well, fuck it. We're just going to go and make our own stuff. And if it gets big in that country, it gets big in that country. Marvel movies caught on. Other things caught on. Star Wars didn't catch on, and I don't think it ever will. I don't like the idea, though, of having to sanitize our entertainment for their views. It's like, you want to watch it? Well, watch our version of it. And if their government won't allow it, it wasn't meant to be. Because we're going to rob ourselves culturally. And I think that's a big problem. We talk about people, there's pop culture that's easily digestible. It's junk food. It's McDonald's, But then there is better stuff out there. And I think this kind of thing is going to prevent us from getting that fine dining experience out of popular culture. We're just going to be stuck with so much fast food junk. And I fear that it's just going to hurt us in the long run because, popular culture is the story of us now. We look back on the old mythology. We look back on stories, of yesteryear, of yore, or whatever it is. But when people look back on this era of pop culture, or even further on the era that's coming, we'll look back and be embarrassed. It's like bad haircuts and bad styles. It seems fine and acceptable now, But I think this will be even worse than a fashion faux pas, because you can look back at an old picture and think, I looked dumb, whatever. But you'll look back at these things and you'll think, what did I take away from myself? What did I rob myself of? What did we as a society lose for the sweet, sweet Chinese dollars? It's like the WWE. They're going into Saudi Arabia again. The women can't perform. They do all these things because they want to get money from these foreign countries with different views. And that's, people say, that's just great business. It's fine. I don't judge you for that. But in terms of like popular culture, it affects us all. And we're going to just go elsewhere. It's good for people like me and other people that can create their own stuff. And with the way digital distribution and the internet is, as long as the internet stays the way it is, I think your next John Carpenter will be easier to find through this mass of garbage that's coming. So thank you, The Fixer, for all your messages. Let's see. Dietrich Garbo says, Superman, Disney will go full iconoclast. Yeah, Superman has a better chance. I want a great Superman movie. When that theme hits, that old John Williams theme, and you see him in the red and blue suit, gets me excited. That's all I can say. Professor McCoy's Pop Culture View says, here's my money. Go and watch Secondhand Lion. Buy it on YouTube. You will thank me later. Well, let me take a screenshot of that so I can. Let's just look at it on Amazon real quick. I like Blu-rays. Here we go. Amazon right here. I will add this to my cart right now. I won't even take a screenshot of it. Boom. There we go. If you heard that little sound effect, that means I bought it. Okay. Professor McCoy Pop Culture Review. I'll try to, well, it'll come in a week, and I'll try to watch that as soon as possible. And I'll let you know. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, says Dietrich Garbo. Have I seen that? I know Nick has. I know Nick has for sure. Dietrich Garbo. Dietrich Garbo also says, no! Eric Santucci says, people argue that Vader's sacrifice was more about saving Luke, but I think Vader killing Palpatine is cathartic. What is cathartic about Rey doing it? Well, if we're gonna play in the guise of it's cathartic, what interaction does Rey have with the Emperor or Darth Vader? Anything she learns about them would be through Leia talking to her. Why would Rey feel that it is her duty to complete what Luke started? Why her? Because she gets a fucking lightsaber? Luke's journey was because I want to become a Jedi like my father before me and learn the ways of the Force, And Obi-Wan wanted him to do that. Obi-Wan had this plan that we learned later. We're just going to act like the first Star Wars saga was planned out. But, Obi-Wan knew training Luke to defeat Vader, to bring balance to the Force. Eventually, we know Vader did himself. But my point is, we had that. What is Rey's journey? She's from a sand planet, and she wears light-colored clothing and uses a blue lightsaber. She's just like Luke. No, she's not. She's good and just and virtuous and has self-doubt, just like Luke. She's still not Luke Skywalker. Luke has a connection to these characters. Oh, guys, we're going to learn about her connection in the final chapter. It's too fucking late. It's not how storytelling should go. Oh, we're going to subvert your expectations and turn it on its ear. Awesome. Thank you. Grand. Didn't like it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That was rude. But yeah, Eric, it's cathartic when you watch it in the whole 6 chapters to see what Palpatine did, how he manipulated him. And I like that we never had scenes of Vader going on about the Emperor took this away from me and that. What is thy bidding, my master? And how when Luke talks to him about, it's not too late, he's like, it's too late for me, son, and all this shit. And he still defends the Emperor till the end. And in that moment is when he flips, and that's great storytelling. I fucking love it. Darth Fatass, all right. Captain, there are spores running along the ship. Chip the ship. Cue goodbye horses. Fixed it. One last question. How big is Batista's dick? Thank you, Darth Fatass. Thank you for keeping the joke alive. Secondly, yeah, that really is an easy thing to do. They're just like, yeah, Just tip it and it's done. The Space Horse battle is going to be stupid, of epic proportions. I can't wait till December. I'm going to be watching with bated breath as Rose Tico and Finn and Poe Dameron, led by BB-8, if you look at the trailer closely, the little droids, lead the Sporces, or Space Horses for the layperson, to the final battle. It's going to be intercut with the final battle on horseback, the space battle, the lightsaber duel. It's almost exhausting thinking about it. That's all I can say. But thank you for asking about Batista's dong. Dietrich Garbo says Vader yelled "No" because he killed Palpatine. In the Blu-ray edition, they added the "no." They did. So if you're one of the people who've only watched Star Wars on DVD or previous formats, you've never heard the "no." But I am a sucker for good picture quality, so I do lose out. What I would love to do is take my Blu-ray, rip, and just get the original audio for Return of the Jedi and have that scene be in the best picture quality possible and just not have the no. I hate that so fucking much. Mazamonti, welcome back. Thank you. Before The Force Awakens came out, a pal asked me, what if it's bad? I was taken aback. I said, it's Star Wars. It can never be bad. Oh, how very wrong I was. Very wrong. Or in the words of Lex Luthor, wrong! Yeah, that reminds me of that scene from Fanboys. The very last shot of the film as they're getting ready to watch episode 1. They're like, what if it sucks? And then the movie ends. You know, it's nice that George Lucas had a sense of humor enough that it wasn't a problem for him. I know a lot of people feel like, well, it's Star Wars, it can't be bad. Personally, I lived through it being bad for most of my life. From ages 1 to 10, well, I didn't know what Star Wars was until I was about 6. So when we got the Star Wars age, then I was on board. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. And then the prequels, meh, and then this one, meh. So, yeah, what if it's bad? Well, you were wrong, Mazamonti, but you know what? I won't hold it against you. Andrew Clark says, narratively, what does Kylo represent? I want to say they're trying to make him be like the fallen hero, like a Vader was, but his redemption will be happier. I don't know though. Honestly, the answer I think you're looking for is he doesn't represent anything good, Andrew. He represents. I don't know what Kylo Ren represents. I'm not trying to throw your question out. I just honestly can't think of. He doesn't add anything. He's not cool. He's not compelling. He's not scary. Villains in Star Wars have to have a scary element. Like when you see Vader roll in, he looks at all the dead bodies and then he chokes guy to death. Originally, he was supposed to rip his arm off. Darth Maul is scary looking for a kid. You know, he's this guy, he has horns, he's got red black tattoos, he's got dark teeth. He kills Qui-Gon, the Jedi that's doing all this great stuff in the movie. And you have Jango Fett, not really scary. But then you have General Grievous, who's kind of creepy. He's got like the 4 arms that pop out. He does that spider walk. There's just elements of coolness and a little creepiness to these villains. Kylo Ren, when you watched him break down and cry, you didn't see him as the villain of the story. You saw him as an unstable... Like, the Joker's unstable. Arthur Fleck Joker is very unstable. But it's a different type of story you're telling. You're trying to tell an origin story of how someone became the Clown Prince of Crime. This is supposed to be Kylo Ren in his 30s as this unbeatable villain. He's killing his father. He's the right-hand man of the Empire 2.0. But they didn't do it right. Eric Veston, thank you very much. I'd like more movies where the villain just flat out wins, or at least the good guys fail. Empire Strikes Back, Infinity War, etc. 2 films I enjoy thoroughly. Yeah, it depends on what we're watching. I like horror movies where the bad guy wins. I like the dark, dour endings of horror. I think because we had Infinity War, which was so big where the villain won, I don't think we're going to see many Marvel movies where the villains win for a while. There might be more of a nobody wins type of thing. Like maybe in the Black Widow film, nobody wins. But I personally would like more villains winning. We've seen a James Bond movie where the bad guy wins. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, James Bond loses. It's probably the best movie in the franchise. I don't think, though, let me say this to clarify. I don't think dour endings make a great film. I think, like you said, Empire Strikes Back and Infinity War, you had great films that just had that ending. Realistically, I would feel if, in an alternate reality, Thor beat Thanos and that's how the movie ended, I would still feel the same way about Infinity War. The dusting's cool and it added to my whole, like, what's going to happen next? But I would still feel very strongly about the film and enjoy it. Empire, you have to have that ending. But I would, like I said, a Back to the Future with a down ending would suck. You could have an X-Men movie where they lose. That'd be interesting, you know? Technically, Indiana Jones loses in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He may survive, but he loses the Ark. So the only thing he really gains out of it is Marion and his life. Is that a win? Is that a loss? Top Men always kind of rubs me that way. Temple of Doom, Last Crusade has the ultimate happy endings. We've had Batman movies where he loses. You know, Batman kind of lost in The Dark Knight. Well, it was more of a self-sacrifice moment, but still, I think that stands. Maybe that also works for middle chapters. And you'd think, well, Jeff, Infinity War is the third out of a 4-movie arc. True, but I think in many ways, with the exception of the mind gem that the Vision has, Age of Ultron is a very disposable movie. So if you look at it as Avengers, then Infinity War, then Endgame as a trilogy, again, that works, but you can't, so whatever. Ghosty Ghost, thank you very much. Do you think The Rise of Skywalker will be worse than The Last Jedi? Like Kevin Garnett, anything is possible. What do I think? No, I don't think it'll be like... It depends. The Last Jedi just had dumb story elements, dumb characters, compounded by watching Luke Skywalker. Maybe it won't be as bad for a lot of people because we've been like the shock of how bad The Last Jedi was it's going to have worn off by now. We're numb to it. It could be. Anything's possible. And you know, you wish for the best in this situation. It'd be great if it was, you know, the best Star Wars movie ever. Can it be? Probably not. But no matter how good or bad this movie is, like I said, say this is the greatest one, you still have a broken trilogy and you have problems moving forward. But my guess is that it'll... remember, though, too, Ghosty Ghost, what I look at is like shameless ripoffs from Return of the Jedi do not make a good film for me. They make a bad, lazy film. So for me, if it's Return of the Jedi with Avengers Endgame time travel plots, it's a waste. It's a dumpster fire. If I want that, I'll just go watch those other movies. You know, I wanted something like the nice advancement of our characters. Our original Star Wars characters never advanced. They regressed. You say, well, what about Princess Leia? She lost what made her the iconic character she was. I think she lost as much as Luke and Han. Maybe they're dead, but she is just a vapid, not vapid, that's the wrong word, an empty, hollow character. It has nothing to do with Carrie Fisher's performance. They just made her this matriarch. They tried to elevate her to make it something different. Where is her fire? Where was her wit? The best back and forth in any sci-fi movie, probably Empire with Han and Leia. You know, I don't have time to discuss this with committee, or even let's just say Star Wars in general. Their back and forth is great, especially in the first movie when she's like into the garbage chute flyboy and all this stuff, that whole corridor gun battle. Get this big walking carpet out of my way. They just took away her identity, and she may survive, she may die in the movie, but Princess Leia lost just as much. And nobody talks about it because she's physically there, but it sucks. The Fixer says, for a good mystery, look at Half-Life. Even today, 20 years since the first game, people are still theorizing who the hell the G-Man is. For bad mystery, well, just look at Star Wars. F you, J.J. Abrams. I have only played Half-Life 2 because I had the orange box, the Fixer. But even I know the G-Man from Half-Life. We'll never find out. We'll never get a third game either. That saddens a lot of people. Sometimes you just end at the right point. Like, you look at though, 20 years later and you're still theorizing. Is that better? Making up your own conclusions in your mind, is that better than actually seeing it on screen? I think that's the case for a lot of stuff. I didn't need to see necessarily how he became Darth Vader. In your mind, it's like, oh, something. I think everyone that I knew, at least, you're like, he fell in a volcano. I don't know where that story comes from, but I knew that as a kid. He fell in a volcano. Like, that was just what you said. Like, how did Darth Vader fall in a suit? He fell in a volcano. Okay. And then essentially it was the same thing in Revenge of the Sith. But, there's just certain things I like to leave to the imagination, like Michael Myers. How did he become this vessel of evil with the black eyes and the lifeless eyes and all this stuff? A doll's eyes, that's Jaws. Yeah, you don't need to see it. Rob Zombie ruined it. You made him a redneck. He comes from a white trash family, and he was abused as a kid, and he didn't have a father, and all that stuff. It was a much more compelling film when he lived in, when the evil was your next door neighbor, a nice, clean-cut family like the Myers, and then all went to hell that one fateful Halloween night, 1963. So, less is more. That's the theme of today's show. Less is more. Dietrich Garbo says, Kylo Ren just needs a hug. I wouldn't want to hug him because look what he did to his father. He stabbed him right through the back. Well, through the chest. Through the heart. He's dead. TLJ Screwjob says, I'll talk about what we lost. I'll talk about what we lost, or what? I can't speak, sorry. I'll talk about what we as a society lost on World Class Bullshitters. The last TLJ Screwjob, I look forward to it. It'll be fun to throw those ideas off of everybody. By the way, folks, for the 1,096 watching and those who will listen to us streaming in the future, tonight, the 24th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the podcast, World Class Bullshitters. We have a couple new listeners in the chat. Just a heads up for those who don't know how our scheduling works, I put out videos throughout the week, always Monday, try to hit a Wednesday as well. Some weeks are harder due to a live stream schedule, but we put out single videos throughout the week. Every Tuesday is the High Council. Every Thursday is our podcast, and our podcast is structured differently than your average Geeks and Gamers or other channel live streams. It's not just one topic, it's multiple to keep the things flowing. But as always, you guys are more than welcome to ask us any sorts of questions to change the topics. We consider ourselves the People's Podcast. Are we Muhammad Ali fans? He's cool, but it's The Rock that I'm referencing. So tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come back. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll get to hear what the other guys think about the trailer. Remember, Dion's afraid of horses. So space horses? Dion Green? Ugh. The Zeppo1138 says, I have HD cuts of the OG trilogy if you're interested. Well, Zeppo, if you'd like to email me, worldclassbs@mail.com, and say, hey, Kendo, can you forward this email to Jeff? I would love to respond. Thank you very much. Dietrich Garber says, every movie should end with villains needing hugs. Has anyone here played the game GoldenEye? I'm sure a lot of you have. Most of you. Originally, Shigeru Miyamoto was worried about the game being too violent, so he wanted them to, like, after the credits, for them to all be in the hospital where James Bond, didn't kill them. And I think that's why you see the credits in the game at the beginning, to make it look like it's not really violent. It's like a play or something. I didn't pick up on that as a kid. James Bond just killed those people because it's licensed to kill. That's what 007 is. Jedi Knight and Friend of Alita says, Palpatine spun all the way down the Forest Moon. If that's how Palpatine did it through space, they'll release a super mega deluxe edition of Return of the Jedi where it shows him land on the planet. And then I'll buy it. If we can go back in 1983 and insert that into our memories, sure. No complaints. Andrew Clark says, all I wish for is the Rise of Skywalker all I wish for the Rise of Skywalker is for it not to be bad. Remember, bad is subjective. You may enjoy it, we may not. We'll find out. We have less than 2 months to wait. The anticipation is killing me. I hope it lasts. If anyone can tell me what that's kind of from, I'll be impressed. Cesare Japan says, looks like the only act of criminality from the Joker movie in real life is loitering on those stairs. Let the media try to spin that angle. Cesare Japan, they tried hardcore to make this movie seem like it was going to be something else to scare him away. I went and saw it. Loved it. There's like 3 people. I went and saw it in Wisconsin. You know, if you live in Milwaukee, it's not much different from Cincinnati, but parts of Milwaukee are very depressing, much like parts of Cincinnati. And the theater I went to was close to the hotel, and it was depressing. It was not the best of neighborhoods, but I enjoyed the hell out of the film. And there we go, Robot Shlomo, as well as Ricardo Martinez. Got to give shout outs. We'll do it in the right order. Let's see. There we go. Lots to talk about GoldenEye. Shout out to you guys. Okay, so technically Ricardo got it first, but Robot Shlomo, as well as TLJ Screwjob. Who else had that? MM Misguided. Yeah, okay. Lots of people like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Cool. Oh my God, I love that movie so much. Darth Armo says, "Hi, Hefe. Been a while since I've been on a live chat. I got a showing for 5 p.m. PST Arclight Sherman Oaks fan event. Half the tickets were available." You and I are going to be closer than you realize, Darth Armo. Anyway, yeah, that screening definitely isn't sold out. Jesse and I were talking about that because the Arclight, it was funny. We were on Mindless Bullshit last night, and we're talking about like, oh, I'm going to bring this to the apartment, and I'll bring that. And we're talking about our movie rewards programs. And she's like, I got Arclight Silver Circle, and I'm like, I got AMC, and I am like a super deluxe gold member. That sounds funnier than anyway. Point I'm trying to make is, yes, you are right about that not being sold out. You'd think Los Angeles, California, movie capital of the world, everyone would be going to see Star Wars. You know, in Sherman Oaks, they had a Star Wars Disneyland billboard for Galaxy's Edge on this. I don't know what street. I don't know the name of the street. She drove everywhere. I was sick half the time. But I remember driving past that Galaxy's Edge billboard and thinking to myself, oh God, everyone in California must love this bullshit. Well, we looked at the numbers. That wasn't the case. And now that's the best thing is you can look at the numbers and there's only so much Disney can make up because they are a publicly traded company. And at the end of the day, if anything illegal happens, they'll get called out on it. So we'll find out Darth Armo about that in the future. Jake, A State Farm Story. I'd watch that movie in a heartbeat. What up, Max Santiago? Welcome to the chat. Let's see. We are getting closer and closer to closing it out, folks, because full transparency, wanted to spend my birthday with my grandma. Couldn't see her on Monday, so today we're taking her out and got to get my mom back before she has to go to work. So we'll be closing the stream out in the next few minutes, but want to thank everybody. Christopher's in Fort Mitchell. I drive by Fort Mitchell all the time. The best comic book shop, in my opinion, Christopher, is Rock and Rooster Comics and Games. Absolutely love it. And if you're looking for a cool vintage toy shop, Road to the Past Collectibles, I think it's Harrison Avenue. So there we go. Andrew Clark says, when will your next EFAP appearance be? I got to get invited. I try not to invite myself on streams because I don't want to feel like, oh, Jeff's trying to get on again to talk. I figure I got this platform. I'm very happy. If they want to invite me on, sure. I just got to know the shit. Like if anyone were to say, Jeff, we'd love to have you on to talk about Game of Thrones, I'd go, I saw the part where the kid got thrown out the window after he saw his mom and brother having sex. That's all I know. I wouldn't be interesting to talk about. You want to go into comics, you want to go into gaming, you want to go into anything movie-wise, I'm your guy. So Mauler, I'm cool with Mauler. Is Wolf still on there? Is Wolf the guy that deleted his channel because he was having some personal stuff? I'm fine with all the people that run EFAP. I have no problems with them. I just, I haven't talked to them in a while. So eventually. Girthy Gamer SD, I do like LA's In-N-Out Burger, but I'm willing to try all kinds of stuff. Action Figure Expert, I will say hi to my mom for you. Lots of love. Winslow Friday, you were correct. It is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Thank you, South of Heaven. GoldenEye was amazing. Let's see. The Fixer says, people say Halo 5 is the last Jedi of Halo. That's a disservice to Halo because it had good elements on top of it. 434 at least admitted their mistake. That's true. Before I go, I do want to bring up one thing. So if anyone's thinking about leaving, I got something really funny I want to show you guys. So just stick around for a minute. It's a good way to end the show. But no, yeah, to call yourself the last Jedi or to be called the last Jedi of something is like it's just a nuclear blast. Like there's nothing bigger that you can say. It's like, well, you're the what's another shitty movie? You're the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's like, yeah, that sucks. But The Last Jedi of something, it's a failure on like levels that you can't even begin to quantify yet. People are like, oh, it made so much money, but it made so much less than before. But it did this. But look at what it's doing. It's damaging stuff. Like for as much money as it made at the box office, it turned Star Wars. It changed Star Wars not for the better. You know, you can dump on the prequels all you want, but the prequels didn't make Star Wars toxic. People would say, well, it's the internet didn't exist back then. The internet fucking existed back then. I remember going to the library and reading up about episode 1. I remember there was broadband internet connections when episode 2 existed, and message boards and forums. Just because YouTube didn't exist for the Star Wars prequel trilogy doesn't mean the internet didn't exist. Well, social media wasn't a thing. It doesn't matter. Movies made tons of money before social media existed. You know, social media has maybe just emboldened a lot of these people to push a narrative for a film, because it's a newer medium, and it's these studios, you know, the studios can control a newspaper, they can control a television appearance. Social media is, you know, it has rules, but you really can't change people's opinions, so they make up shit and lie to people. Thank you, KD Mac. Dan Vinoy says, say hi to your grandma for me. Oh, sorry. Dan Vinoy says, Jeff, bring back Good Morning Pop Culture. I'm not a fan of the others. You mean the other guys on this channel? Good Morning Pop Culture is a hard sell because it's so early. Like, you know, it's 7:45 in the morning, and by the time I get done, it's kind of hard to jump to do more videos. I have a secondary channel for Good Morning Pop Culture. If I were able to get this many people watching on the secondary channel, because to be fair too, live streams all the time kill your channel growth. And people say, how does that work? I don't know how it works, but I'll tell you the story, Dan. Last year when we did Good Morning Pop Culture, every day for 4 months straight, we went from 70,000 to 74,000. When I stopped at the beginning of the year, we hit 100,000 within a month and a half, and we've doubled the channel size since I've stopped doing Good Morning Pop Culture. So you got to look at it from that point of view. What's, you know, how does it hurt? So that's really a reason behind it. But Jeff, when is the wedding? I'm not engaged. I went to a wedding 2 weeks ago. Almost. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Shit. We had a great time. Officiated a wedding. If anyone wants to hear that story, press 1. I'll tell you guys. Let's see. Clusterworks says, say hi to your grandma for me. An old man Biff's voice. All right, I will. My grandma hates Back to the Future. She's like, that's such a dumb movie. That's a car. I'm like, then she tells me how much she likes James Bond to try to make me feel better. But, you know, whatever. Do I know the guys from Red Letter Media? Not personally. I like their work. I'll be in Milwaukee again. I wish I was our channel was big enough. It's like, you're in Milwaukee, come hang out with us. I'd love to go to their warehouse and make something. But you know, we're not honored yet. But I'd love to. If something magical were to happen within the next 2 weeks when I'm back in Milwaukee, they're like, hey, we heard you want to be on the channel. Do you want to come on? Whatever I got to do while I'm in Milwaukee, I'll make it happen. It'll be a lot of fun. And that'd be the ultimate crossover for us at this point. It's like World Class Bullshitters, or at least just me, meets the guys from Red Letter Media, Mike J. and Rich Evans. Let me dream. Let's see, where else were we at? Hell, Red Letter Media. Oh, people are asking me about marrying Jesse. It's a good relationship, but I mean, I didn't buy a ring. Bought her a birthday present, not a ring. So it's like, whatever. She bought me a birthday present. Let's see. GMPC essentially caters to non-North American audiences. Hey, if you enjoy it in other parts of the world, we're called World Class Bullshitters for a reason. It's never been about, you know, we're America's channel or something like that, or the world's channel. It's just, it depends on time zones. I'll tell you this, being out west, it's going to be impossible to do Good Morning Pop Culture at 4 o'clock in the morning their time. Oof. I need to sleep. I usually get to bed around midnight, 4 hours of sleep a night, and I'll be sick. Steve Johnson says Palpatine survived because he had a flux capacitor on his wrist, and when thrown down the shaft, he reached 80 miles per hour and went back to the future. I could imagine Like, okay, so we know when the DeLorean travels through time, it'll go at the same speed when it comes up the other side. What if Palpatine, like, time traveled back to the same point and he just, like, crashed into the wall at, like, full speed? I guess the only thing he could do is, like, maybe jump a couple minutes into the future where the thing had, like, cooled off in space and he just keeps floating through space? I don't know. Your theory has weight to it, though. The Fixer says, well, I got to go to work. Have a good day, Jeff. The Fixer, I will have a great day. And thank you for joining us today. By the way, I see a lot of ones that people wanted to know the wedding story. So my friend Veronica, who I've been friends with for about 5 years, honestly. So long story short, I used to be a professional artist. I would work conventions across the country. Did a lot of horror shows because my whole philosophy was I saw a lot of horror artwork that didn't have I just thought I could do a lot of horror artwork because a lot of it was the same. I thought I'd do something different. And so I would start working these shows. And that's how I met Nick. My first convention, I was sitting next to Nick at a table. It was Nick and his mom. They were selling contacts. And it was Dan, my friend Dan, who used to be on the show, and myself, and we were selling posters. And it was an okay experience. I look at it like this. It may have not made me the most money, but what it did was help me meet Nick, who helped open the door for us doing the podcast, and it's been a great time ever since. Long story short, too, met Veronica. Did not realize I met her. She friended me on Facebook. We would talk every once in a while. She's a nice person. So 2 years ago, I'm down at WrestleMania in Florida, and she's like, hey, I'm going to WrestleMania too. I'm bringing my new boyfriend. Can we come over and hang out? So I said, sure. It was us, the guys. We rented a place. They come over. They drank. I think they got too drunk. They slept on the floor. It was fun. We remained friends the entire time. Last year, she says, hey, I'm getting engaged. I want you to be involved with the wedding. And I'm thinking, like, I'm going to be a groomsman in a wedding for somebody I don't know. And then she's like, I want you to officiate it. So I got all my officiation papers. I did the stuff with the Universal Life Church. I have all my documents. I went out and got a suit, and I went to Wisconsin. Originally, I was going to go for a couple days. Then I started dating Jesse, and I was like, why don't you come to Milwaukee for this wedding? It was weird. I won't get into all the personal details, but like right after we started like seeing each other, when it was the long distance thing, I was like, I got a wedding to do in October. Do you want to come visit me? And she goes, yes. So it was real quick. I mean, we made the plans 3 months ago. So I officiated this wedding. There's pictures of it on Instagram. If you go to her Instagram, you can see me in my suit. We're very drunk in the photo. So let's see if you can tell which one's drunker, her or me. The answer is her. Look at her face. But there you go. That's the story. I officiated this wedding. It was a lot of fun. And this lady comes up to me and she goes, you did such a great job. Would you consider flying across the country and officiating weddings? And she gave me her business card. And I'm just like, lady, I did it for my friend. I was polite because it was like one of the bridesmaids' moms. So I thought to myself, lady, I'm doing it for my friend. I don't think anybody knows me well enough to have me officiate their wedding. So if you're a fandom menacer and you're getting married and you want to have me officiate your wedding, just fly me out and give me food. I'm joking. It was basically a one and done thing. Unless people want to get married where I'm going to be somewhere, then I'll do it. All you got to do is ask. That would be crazy. Is if like we're having a fandom menace meet up, some dude's like, I'm bringing my fiance. We'd like you to marry us. I would do it. I have the documentation. But you know what? It's your special day. Do it your own way. But I thought that was a fun time. And if I had video of it, I would love to share it. So speaking of share, let me show you guys something. Now, I know there are some game fans. There are less wrestling fans, but I wanted to talk about something. This is going to pop up in a future video. See, Good Morning Pop Culture is also a great time to get me to talk about shit I got planned for the channel in the future. Well, you can tell I love to talk. So Good Morning Pop Culture, on the channel, we had the Decline of Western Entertainment Part 1. Actually, surprisingly successful. It's just something I made one day because I had nothing else to talk about. So therefore, I have to make parts 2 and 3. Part 2 is the streaming war, but Part 3, entertainment, covers everything. TV, movies, games, comics, newspapers to a degree because there's editorial spin, which is considered entertainment. But I'm not going to make that. When it comes to gaming, though, when it comes to a product, it should be done. You know, delays are delays. Sometimes you can't help them. Like Shigeru Miyamoto says, people forget a delayed game, but they remember a bad one forever. And I just wanted to share something near and dear to my heart. I've been buying wrestling games for nearly 20 years. I've been a fan since November of 1999, early 2000s when I got my first game. I have skipped 3 in the entire 20-year span, and this was my 4th one because this game, WWE 2K20, is broken. And I know you're thinking, I don't really want to hear you talk about broken video games. Maybe, but you definitely want to see how broken the game is. So over on Reddit, one of the #1 trending hashtags in the world is hashtag fix WWE 2K20. It's still trending when the Rise of Skywalker trailer stopped. Star Wars isn't currently trending right now on Twitter. But this is an example. This is supposed to be Rey Mysterio in a mask, and you get this. You get all these terrible, terrible glitches, and people are just watching it and laughing. And I'd love to be able to show more, but they want to show me random GIFs. So, like, when you buy a game, you don't expect your characters to look like this. This is a screenshot of a brand new video game that came out 3 days ago. That is embarrassing. I mean, where is her face? We have teeth, we have eyes, we have ears, and a chin. A chin, but no actual game. So it's 2019. We're supposed to have great and complete video games, but we have this, where eyes are falling off. If you like, glitches and you want to have a lot of fun, I suggest you guys just type in WWE 2K20 glitches and have some fun. I'm trying to find, here we go. Let's go to videos. That would actually help. I'm going to show you some of them just for a minute because you're going to laugh. So here's one that everyone seems to watch. Look at the referee. He is stuck on his knees. It looks like he's entering Charlotte. And now I have no clue what he's doing to her face. But this is broken. This is broken. I have not been able to stop laughing at how broken this is. Like, folks, this is a $60 video game. This is the WWE license. It's worth millions of dollars. If this can be this bad and get released, all kinds of bad Star Wars stuff gets released too. But if this kind of stuff can get released, what's going to stop them from working hard? This is what we talk about when we talk about Disney Star Wars, when people say they want to boycott, when they say they want to do this. You got to make some of these companies accountable. And so when it comes to this broken video game, you definitely want to make these places be accountable. You can't, for a product, you can't take incomplete products. You got to have a finalized product. And that's how I feel about it. So let's see. We got a few more super chats, and then we're going to close out the stream. So first off, Darth Armo says, when you move to La La Land, we have to go to Frank and Sons. Just don't get sick. You're going to love filming the toy aisles in LA. No ollies, though. Well, Darth Armo, I'm definitely going to be making all the toy videos that I can. It's always going to be fun for me. And no, I won't get sick this time. I'm pretty good. I usually get deathly ill like once every 4 or 5 years, and most years I just don't get sick at all. So I had my California illness. I'm getting used to the stuff. Plus, it's also being in a different area. Like, I used to have allergies as a kid. As I got older, I didn't. But then when I moved to Michigan, I developed allergies again because it's just about being in different places for me. So there you go. And finally, TLJ Screwjob says, you want to flex a pass or you have to pay for it, pal. Makes me proud right there. Makes me proud. So let's see what people are saying before we close this out. I got to say, guys, this has been a hell of a week for streams. A lot of people turning out, a lot of fun. That's what we talk about here on the channel. It's got to be fun. An angry video gamer will always need new games. He will. I love the angry video game nerd. It's funny. For every YouTube person that fell apart and, disappeared, you have the angry video game nerd. And he's a reminder that you can make this happen. So, too legit to quit. So Jonathan Stoffel, excuse me. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. I had a great time this morning, and I want to thank everybody out there who joined us the entire time. I will be back tonight with Good Morning Pop Culture. Excuse me, that's not Good Morning Pop Culture. I'll be back tonight with World Class Bullshitters, episode 195. We are so close to episode 200, which is going to be The Rise of Skywalker mega spectacular. So you guys are going to have a lot of fun with that. And if you don't plan on seeing the movie, well, that's okay. Don't see it. You do what you want with your own money. And if you're waiting for a review, we'll give you the most honest review. Because remember, folks, we have nothing to gain if it's a great film. And we also have nothing to lose by telling you if it's terrible. So I'll be back next time with more, tonight with more. And as always, folks, go out into the world and be excellent to each other.